Chapter 1696. The Sea of Flowers. Jian Chen stopped and turned around to look at Mo Yen, who had run over. He seemed to be in thought. Mo Yen ran over to Jian Chen. With a sad frown, she looked at Jian Chen pitifully and said, "Jian Chen, I'm in trouble. Can you help me?" Jian Chen smiled and glanced at the young master in the distance. He said, "Sure, tell me how I can help you. Do you want me to chase away that young master?" Jian Chen agreed extremely straightforwardly. After all, Mo Yen had saved he and Shen Jian when they were outside before, so Jian Chen had always felt some gratitude towards her. It was not like it was anything difficult for him to help her with the problem right now anyway. Moreover, he could tell with a single glance that the young master was up to no good. He naturally did not want Mo Yen to be harassed by him. Mo Yen immediately leapt in fright when she heard that Jian Chen would chase away the young master. She whispered, "No, no, don't. You can't do that. He's the young master of the Automose sword sect after all. He has quite the status, so you can't offend him. He's not a kind-hearted person just because he doesn't get mad at me. If people provoke him and they don't have a certain background, he'll never let them go." "Then how do you want me to help you?" Jian Chen asked with a smile. Mo Yen tilted her head in thought and said, "Dad wants me to receive him properly, so I obviously can't just abandon him. But I don't want to be alone with him. Why don't you come with me as my friend? If you can do that, I think Xiaofan will understand and not always stick around me." "Sister Yenner, who's this? Why don't you introduce him to me?" At this moment, the young master walked over. He smiled brightly, but his gaze was cold and rather envious when he glanced at Jian Chen. "Why have I never heard of this person before? Not only is he more handsome than me, but he also possesses a certain level of determination that I don't possess. God damn it. This type of presence can encapture the hearts of girls the easiest. Why don't I have it? Why?" The young master grumbled inside. He had already been comparing himself to Jian Chen secretly and discovered that he paled in comparison in all aspects apart from his background. Mo Yen frowned. She stared at Xiaofan impatiently and said coldly, "Xiaofan, how many times do I have to tell you? Don't call me Sister Yenner. Only Jian Chen can call me Sister Yenner and no one else." Xiaofan gritted his teeth and looked at Jian Chen with much hostility. He asked arrogantly, "Is this Jian Chen? Jian Chen, may I ask which clan you come from? And why has my sect never heard of you?" Xiaofan directly referred to his father's sect as his in attempt to dominate Jian Chen. Jian Chen remained composed. He smiled gently, "I'm only a nameless independent cultivator, so it's natural for the young master to have not heard of me." Xiaofan let out a breath of relief inside after learning that Jian Chen was just a nameless cultivator. He naturally would not place any particular attention on a nameless cultivator, nor did he believe that a nameless cultivator could steal the young lady of the Mo clan away from him. But Sister Yenner really does treat Jian Chen closely. Otherwise, why would she say that only he can refer to her as Sister Yenner? "Humph, you're just a puny independent cultivator, and yet you want to go against me. I'll shut you up forever in a few days," Xiaofan sneered inside and a hostile light flickered through his dull eyes. However, his expression did not change at all. His smile remained the same, and he said to Mo Yen, "Sister Mo Yen, let's go check out the Sea of Flowers in the Mo clan instead." A sliver of disgust appeared in Mo Yen's eyes. She glanced at Jian Chen before immediately forcing out a smile. "Let's go, Jian Chen. Let's go see the Sea of Flowers. The Sea of Flowers is the prettiest and most beautiful place in our Mo clan. It's said that my mother personally tended to it." Mo Yan's face became gloomy as soon as she mentioned her mother. There was also some sorrow and pain. Mo Yen, Jian Chen, and Xiaofan arrived in the Sea of Flowers within the Mo clan. As the name suggested, the Sea of Flowers was a sea composed of various precious and rare flowers. A dense fragrance would surge forth when they approached the area. As all the flowers planted there were nothing short of extraordinary, the mixture of their fragrances was extraordinary as well. With just a single whiff, it could calm the souls of people and fill them with comfort all over. Look, Jian Chen. These are white spirit flowers. These are red moon flowers. These are sun-facing flowers, while these are turad flowers. I heard from my father that they were all brought into the clan by my mother, who planted them personally here. Along the way, Mo Yen introduced all the flowers planted there enthusiastically. She smiled brightly, except there was a smear of sorrow within her smile. As for the young master, Mo Yen had directly ignored him. Originally, he had asked Mo Yen to take him to see the Sea of Flowers, yet Mo Yen had completely placed her attention on Jian Chen, whether intentionally or otherwise. She did not even glance at him. Originally, he thought that Jian Chen was just Mo Yan's attendant at most, yet he discovered that he seemed to have become the attendant instead. Yufan's face became more and more sunken, while his gaze towards Jian Chen became colder and colder. He had even revealed a heavy killing intent. Yufan's killing intent obviously could not be hidden from Jian Chen, which made him smile bitterly and helplessly. Mo Yen was still inexperienced after all. Although she could come up with a lot of strange ideas, she was still unable to consider everything with her thoughts. Even if she wanted to find a scapegoat, she had to think it through. Fortunately, she had chosen him. Otherwise, if she had chosen someone else who was not as important as the young master, her actions would have basically led them to their deaths. Yufan could no longer endure it any longer. Although he was filled with fury and killing intent towards Jian Chen, he still maintained his appearance as a young master before Mo Yen, forcefully restraining his unhappiness. He said, "Sister Mo Yen, I've already seen enough of the Sea of Flowers. Why don't we spar with the sword? Let's see whether the precision sword style of your Mo clan or the Automose sword style of my Automose sword sect is better. I heard that in the past, my father and your father sparred many times and they used the precision sword style and Automose sword style. They wanted to see who was stronger, but it was a draw in the end, unfortunately." Chapter 1697, Sparring with Swords, Sparring with Swords? I'm not interested. Mo Yen did not even consider it. She directly turned him down. She hated weapons. There has always been a rumor outside that the precision sword style of your Mo clan is not as great as the Automose sword style of our Automose sword sect. In the past, your father was able to reach a stalemate against mine was not because of the power of your precision sword style but because your father knew a 4th grade truth tier battle skill, Yufan continued. His gaze was already rather cold. He did not mind Mo Yan's coldness towards him because she treated him like this every time. He had already grown accustomed to it when considering Mo Yan's status. However, he was unable to endure her acting so enthusiastically towards another man who was more handsome than himself while completely ignoring him. Mo Yen glared at Yufan after hearing his words. She called out coldly, "Who said that our precision sword style isn't as great as your Automose sword style? Yufan, isn't it just sparring with the sword? Sure, I'll take you on. Let's see whether our precision sword style or your Automose sword style is better." Jian Chen shook his head secretly to one side. He really had nothing to say, seeing how easily Mo Yen had been goaded. Mo Yen is going to suffer. However, it's not like something like this is bad for her. Jian Chen did not step in. Mo Yan's personality really did need to be properly fixed. She would naturally be fine as long as she remained in the Mo clan right now, but if she went out to the outside world, survival would be a great struggle. Seeing that Mo Yen had actually agreed, Yufan secretly celebrated. Then he turned to Jian Chen and said coldly, "Sister Mo Yen and I are sparring, so you better stand far away. If you secretly learn my sword style, my sect will never spare you." Jian Chen rubbed his nose. After warning Mo Yen to be careful, he directly walked away to one side. The 20 guards who had always followed behind the young master stood far away as well. In the end, they walked towards Jian Chen and stood with him. Jian Chen dismissed all the female servants and guards in the Sea of Flowers. They could not allow anyone to spectate their spar up close, just in case they decided to pick up a few moves. "Brother, how would I refer to you?" A disciple from the Audiobook sword sect greeted Jian Chen. He was not very old, and he only seemed to be in his 30s from his appearance. However, that was just his appearance. In reality, he had already cultivated for who knew how long. Jian Chen clasped his hands and responded plainly. "My name is Zhou Bing. You can call me Senior Zhou Bing. However, Jian Chen, I must remind you out of good intentions that during the spar between the young master and the young lady, it's best if we don't interfere. No matter what happens, we have to act like we know nothing, understood?" Zhou Bing said with hidden meaning. Jian Chen frowned when he heard that. He snorted coldly, "If it's only a spar and no injuries or deaths happen, I naturally wouldn't interfere in anything. After all, ordinary sparring is good for Mo Yen as well. However, I'll have to do something if anything beyond sparring happens." Zhou Bing's face changed slightly, and the 19 other disciples immediately moved. They had surrounded Jian Chen, and they all appeared to be rather hostile. "Jian Chen, that's the young master of the Audiobook sword sect and the young lady of the Mo clan. Are you sure that you have the power as an independent cultivator to interfere? You should listen to me and act like nothing has happened at all. Even if something really does happen, it'll be the problem between our Audiobook sword sect and the Mo clan. It won't have anything to do with you," Zhou Bing said sincerely as if he was thinking for Jian Chen. Jian Chen glanced past the disciples who surrounded him and smiled coldly with his arms crossed. "I'd still recommend you to tell your young master to not go overboard when sparring. I'm also considering for you by saying this. After all, you won't be any better off if anything happened to the young master as his guards. You don't have to worry about that, brother Jian Chen. Even in the Mo clan, there is no one who dares to touch the young master." Zhou Bing forced out a smile. Mo Yen had already begun fighting against Xiaofan. A reciprocity guard had already cast down a barrier around their location to prevent the shockwaves of their spar from destroying the Sea of Flowers. As they were both at sainthood, they did not need to worry about their battle destroying the barrier. The two who sparred showed what they had. They both used the techniques from their styles. The precision sword style of the Mo clan and the Audiobook sword style of the Audiobook sword sect clashed together, resulting in streams of energy. Jian Chen watched this from afar. After conversing with Zhou Bing, he had already realized that this spar might not be as simple as it seemed on the surface. Xiaofan's strength is not great, and his battle intent or skills aren't fantastic either, but he's clearly much stronger than Mo Yen. What is Mo Yen doing? That's not how you use a sword. Is she using a sword or a blade? She's just swinging it randomly. How is that the precision sword style? It seems more like a blade style to me, no, an axe style. That's a sword, not a spear. Why is she using the sword as a spear? Jian Chen had no idea how to react as he watched Mo Yen use the sword. He had no idea how to analyze it. Mo Yan's skills with the sword were just horrendous. She did not even have the foundations for the sword. Although Mo Yen and Xiaofan were of the same cultivation level, Mo Yan's skill with the sword and experience in battle were nowhere near Xiaofan's, so Mo Yen completely lost the upper hand before long. Very soon, she was forced into a flurry by Xiaofan. Rip! At this moment, Xiaofan's sword chi swept past and Mo Yan's right sleeve was immediately ripped off, revealing her white arm. Mo Yen gritted her teeth and did her best to fend off Xiaofan's attacks. Xiaofan's perversion was agitated when he saw Mo Yan's white arm, and he revealed a perverted look. He stabbed out a few times, and he cut through Mo Yan's clothes each time, reducing her clothes to tatters immediately. It revealed large areas of her skin. Her clothes no longer covered her body. "You're shameless," Mo Yan was furious. To one side, Jian Chen's face had sunken as well. With a cold snort, he directly stood up. "Brother Jian Chen, it's best if we wait here patiently. There are some matters that we can't interfere in." Zhou Bing stood up as well and said sincerely to Jian Chen. At the same time, the 19 other disciples all surrounded Jian Chen with hostility. "Sister Mo Yan, you have to be careful. This move is called, the gentleman strikes out with his divine sword, the peach blossoms on the mountain bloom." Xiaofan smiled like a pervert as he directly tried to remove Mo Yan's inner garment with a single strike. Powerful killing intent flickered through Jian Chen's eyes. He directly hurled a punch at Zhou Bing's chest. Although he was at reciprocity, he was still unable to withstand a single attack from Jian Chen. He could not even react to Jian Chen's punch, and blood spurted from his mouth as he was blown away like a cannonball. There were 3 other disciples around Zhou Bing. When Zhou Bing collided into them, the 3 disciples all vomited blood and were blown away as well. Cracks rang out from all over their bodies and their bones were broken. At this moment, when Xiaofan's sword was only an inch away from Mo Yan's inner garment, Mo Yan began to pale and panic. From afar, Jian Chen's gaze was cold. He did not hide his heavy killing intent at all. He directly extended a finger towards Xiaofan from far away. His movement immediately produced a silver-white sword qi that flew out with a flash. The sword qi moved extremely quickly, more than 100 times faster than Xiaofan's sword. It struck the barrier around the 2 of them in a single moment. The barrier was as fragile as ice before the sword qi. As a matter of fact, it was as if it did not exist at all, shattering instantly. The sword qi continued onwards without slowing at all, shooting towards Xiaofan's sword with lightning speed. Chapter 1698, I'll take your arm ding. The sword qi struck Xiaofan's sword and caused the sword to resonate crisply. It had been directly knocked aside. Xiaofan also felt an indescribably tremendous force in his sword when the sword qi collided with his weapon. It surged up his right up wildly, immediately making his arm throb violently. He could not help but cry out miserably. At the same time, the blood had completely drained out of his sickly, white face. Xiaofan's cry was astonishingly loud. It rang across most of the clan while his entire right arm had already completely vanished. There was only a mess of flesh and blood on the ground now. Young master. Before the Origin Realm guards could return to their senses from the shock of Jian Chen's punch, they were startled back to their senses by Xiaofan's cry. When they saw Xiaofan in the distance, their faces all changed, and they ran over as quickly as possible. "Go fetch the 2 elders." Immediately, a disciple of the Audiobook sword sect cried out in a panic. The young master had lost an arm under their watch. They simply could not imagine just how severe their punishment would be once they returned. This was because they all knew just how much the sect master spoilt the young master. Although he did not grow up to amount to anything great, he was still the sect master's beloved and only son. What happened? At this moment, a rather heavy voice rang out. The 2 elders of the Audiobook sword sect made their way over from afar with broad steps. They easily crossed several hundred meters with each step, so they arrived before Xiaofan with just a few steps. The patriarch and Shiyu arrived as well. They arrived before Mo Yan slightly faster than the 2 elders. Their faces became completely sunken when they saw how Mo Yan had almost become completely naked. "Sob, Sister Shiyu," Mo Yan threw herself into Shiyu's chest. Her eyes had reddened, and she cried aloud. She cried extremely sadly, and she was filled with a sense of being wronged. Since a young age, she had basically been treasured by people wherever she went. She had never been bullied, so she had never felt so abused before. Xiu hugged the sorrowful Mo Yen tenderly. Her face was terrifyingly sunken while heavy killing intent had appeared in her eyes. She did not try to hide her killing intent at all, allowing the two elders to sense it clearly. Don't be scared. With Sister Xiu here, no one can harm you. If they even touch a hair on you, I'll immediately cripple them. Xiu gnashed her teeth, basically placing stress on every single syllable. Seeing how Mo Yen had almost been stripped bare, she had become truly angered. The patriarch stood to one side with a sunken face silently. His gaze was also extremely cold. He stared at the severed arm that belonged to the young master of the Audiobook sword sect and felt secretly surprised. He could obviously tell with his insight that Xiaofan's arm had not been cut off but forcefully ripped off by an extremely great force. The force had reduced his arm to meat paste. This Jian Chen is pretty powerful. He has already mastered his usage of sword qi. Looks like he's an expert of the sword, thought the patriarch. However, just this was not enough for him to tell whether Jian Chen was at reciprocity or godhood. However, he was unable to see Jian Chen's strength. Just from the vague presence he gave off, Jian Chen seemed to be at reciprocity, yet not at the same time. He also seemed to be at godhood, but he did not appear to be at godhood either. In the end, he had discerned Jian Chen's strength to be at the origin realm because of how Shen Jian referred to him as brother before Shen Jian had broken through. Mo Shan and Mo Yun naturally heard she use vicious words. The two of them understood that although she said these words to comfort Mo Yen, she was actually directing it towards the two of them. However, the two elders were in no mood to pay any attention to Xiu's threats. They stared at Xiaofan's severed arm, and their faces were rather ugly. Although Xiaofan had gone rather overboard, he was still the young master of the Audiobook sword sect. Even if he had gone slightly overboard, there was no need to remove his arm. Xiaofan represented the Audiobook sword sect after all. The Mo clan was basically slapping the Audiobook sword sect's face by treating the young master so brutally. Greetings to the two elders, the 17 disciples who stood around Jian Chen all ran over. They all felt unsettled and dread covered their faces. I got you to protect the young sect master properly, so how has he become like this? You must know how important the young master is to the sect master. We can't afford anything to let anything happen to him, but now you've done it. He has lost an entire arm. Tell me, how are we supposed to explain this to the sect master? How are we going to calm the sect master down from his rage? Elder Mo Yun lectured furiously. He placed particular focus on the sect master's rage. He was scolding the disciples of the Audiobook sword sect, but he was really just reminding the Mo clan of the young master's status in the Audiobook sword sect, hinting that they needed to give a satisfying explanation over how injured the young master had become. Otherwise, it would directly affect the friendship between the two organizations. The patriarch of the Mo clan frowned. He could obviously tell what Elder Mo Yun was trying to imply, but he did not say anything. Now that the Mo clan was about to face the pressures from the Liu family and the Ando clan, he could not afford to become enemies with the Audiobook sword sect at a time like this. Xiu's eyes had almost begun to burn with flames of fury. However, she also felt a deep sense of helplessness. She was tempted to kill Xiaofan with a single stroke after seeing how much abuse Mo Yen had suffered, but her rational mind told her that she could not do that. Why aren't I a god? If I'm a god, would there still be any need for our Mo clan to place so much emphasis on the Audiobook sword sect? If I was a god, the Audiobook sword sect wouldn't dare to say anything even if I kill Xiaofan, Xiu thought with self-blame. She only resented the fact that she could not cultivate faster. Speak, who injured the young master? Seeing that his words were effective, Mo Yun immediately stopped worrying. His tone changed and became extremely direct. He glared at everyone. Jian Chen walked over from afar steadily. He stared at the two elders indifferent and said easily, I injured him. Mo Shan glared at Jian Chen and asked coldly, "And who are you? Don't you know what status the person you just injured possesses? It doesn't matter who he is. You have to come back to the sect with us, so that you can be judged by the sect master. You cut off the young master's arm after all. That's a heinous crime," Elder Mo Yun said coldly. Then he turned to the patriarch of the Mo clan and clasped his fist. "I believe the patriarch should have no problems with us taking this person back with us, right?" Chapter 1699, Shun Jian's strength. Mo Yun's voice gradually became cold. He had failed to reach any good conclusion with Mo Shan in the discussion hall before, and coupled with how the young master had been treated, his opinion of the Mo clan had changed slightly. If it were before Shiyu had fully matured, the Automo's sword sect would have never tried to offend the Mo clan. Even if the young master had suffered wounds like today, they would have never fallen out with the Mo clan over this disappointment of a person. They would have tried to downplay the matter as much as possible. However, now that the Mo clan was facing the threats of the Liu family and the Ando clan, the Mo clan would suffer heavy losses even if they avoided destruction once the two clans moved against them. Under such a situation, there was no reason for them to fear the Mo clan at all. This was because they were certain that the Mo clan would not fall out with their Automo's sword sect, let alone offend their Automo's sword sect. The patriarch felt fury surge in his heart. He snorted coldly. Xiaofan laid his hands on Yenner first. "Am I supposed to let my Yenner be hurt while preventing your young master from being hurt instead? Not to mention that Xiaofan has only lost an arm. It's nothing significant. Recovering an arm is nothing but a simple matter. Patriarch, are you trying to say that you plan on protecting the person who injured our young master?" Mo Shan's voice gradually turned cold as well. This directly affected the pride and dignity of his sect, so he could never let the patriarch have it his way. Not to mention that he was certain that the Mo clan would give in the end. After all, if the Mo clan offended their Automo's sword sect, they would become surrounded by enemies in this region. "Jian Chen is an esteemed guest of my clan. Just the two of you won't be able to take away anyone in my clan. Please take Xiaofan and leave," the patriarch said plainly. Shiyu, who stood to one side, snorted coldly as well. She was extremely furious. The Automo's sword sect was responsible for hurting Mo Yen first, yet they completely ignored what had happened to her and made a fuss over who injured Xiaofan. Since when did the Mo clan become so easy to be abused, where even two elders of the Automo's sword sect could make trouble in their territory? The Mo clan fears the Automo's sword sect. Strange. With the Mo clan's strength, they should be no weaker than the Automo's sword sect. I wonder why the Mo clan fears the Automo's sword sect so much. Looks like the relationship between the four organizations in this region is not as peaceful as it seems, Jian Chen thought. Jian Chen acted as if he was thinking of something before clasping his hands towards the patriarch. He said, "Patriarch, this matter was caused by me, so why don't you let me handle it? I'd like to see how the two godhood elders from the Automo's sword sect handle me and if they have the power to take me back or not." The two elders hesitated instead when they saw Jian Chen's composure. They stared at Jian Chen in both surprise and doubt because they could not tell what strength Jian Chen possessed. Originally, they believed him to be at the origin realm, as godhood experts would not be so unknown to the public. Moreover, there were only so many godhood experts in the region. They had basically seen images of every single one, and Jian Chen was not among them. However, seeing how reassured Jian Chen seemed, the two of them became rather uncertain now. Suddenly, Mo Shan seemed to think of something. He said to Mo Yun through a communication technique, "The godhood expert who recently broke through in the Mo clan seems to have quite a good friend. I think the person's name is Jian Chen. Is he it?" Mo Yun's face changed, and he responded, "I remember as well now. That's indeed the case. Looks like this Jian Chen is so reassured against us because he has the support of that new person called Shenjian. After saying that to Mo Shan, Mo Yun smiled coldly and said to Jian Chen, so your reassurance comes from your friend who has just become a deity. If your friend possessed strength at late deity, we really might not have been able to do anything to you today, but it's a pity that he's only an early deity. Do you think that a single early deity can protect you? We obviously would not cause him any problems if he decides to remain within his residence. However, if he dares to come out and protect you, I can only teach him a proper lesson. I will let him understand that even after reaching godhood, he can't just go around provoking anyone. As for you, you'll be returning to our Automo's sword sect obediently and be judged by the sect master. As he said that, Mo Yun directly grabbed towards Jian Chen's shoulder. What boldness! I'd really like to see how you, a mid-deity, can teach me, a mere early deity, a lesson. Mo Yun, receive my attack first. If you can't receive my attack, I'll take your arm as well. However, just when Mo Yun finished speaking, a voice filled with energy rang out from one of the residences. It was extremely loud, exploding like a clap of thunder. Before the voice had finished, a powerful sword chi emerged. A dark, metal sword shot out of an elder's hall with lightning speed, accompanied by a sword chi. It shot towards Mo Yun with a flash, directly cleaving towards the hand that Mo Yun was using to grab towards Jian Chen. The Patriarch and Shiyu were both shocked. Their pupils had narrowed to the size of a pinhead in a single moment as they stared fixedly at the sword that shot towards Mo Yun. Their faces were filled with shock and disbelief. This was because both of them experienced a suffocating pressure from the sword. The glow from the sword had even made their hearts leap in fright. They could sense an extremely great threat from the light, where it had reached a level enough to threaten their lives. Both the Patriarch and Shiyu were astounded. They were both late deities, while Shenjian was only someone who had become an early deity a few months ago, yet someone who had recently advanced like him was actually able to deliver such an unbelievable strike. Mo Yun did not pay too much attention at the start. He did not truly treat someone who had only reached early deity recently with any importance. However, his face changed very soon. He became extremely stern and also displayed great shock. Mo Yun basically drew his sword out reflexively. The sword shone with an earthen yellow glow. What he comprehended was the laws of earth. Mo Yun swung his sword, and the yellow light immediately brightened. The huge figure of a mountain seemed to hover behind him while he seemed to have fused with its power completely. He radiated with a monstrous aura and stabbed out as hard as he could. Mo Yun's sword clashed with the incoming metal sword, erupting with a great boom. Just this single attack had caused Mo Yun to turn pale. The figure of the mountain behind him shattered and blood spurted into the air from his mouth. He staggered backwards uncontrollably, with each step, the ground would shake. His valuable shoes turned to dust while his bare feet were now firmly embedded in the ground. The metal sword continued onwards without weakening at all. With a clear thrum, it shot past Mo Yun's arm with surging sword chi, then the sword flew back into the elder's residence without any blood on it at all. Mo Yun grunted as a look of pain became plastered across his pale face. The right arm that he used to wield his sword had already been sliced off. Even his treasured sword had fallen to the ground, causing blood to spurt out of the wound like a fountain. Mo Shan stared at Mo Yun in a daze after the latter lost his arm. He was completely stupefied. The Patriarch and Shiyu's eyes both widened as they stared at the armless Mo Yun. They were astounded. Mo Yun, you can't even receive an attack from me, so what are you going to use to teach me a lesson? The door of the 7th hall had opened, and Shenjian walked out indifferently from there. The dark, metal sword hovered beside him, thrumming clearly. However, in the ears of everyone in the Mo clan, the thrumming sword sounded like an extremely great deterrence. At the same time, the doors to the 5 other halls all opened. The 5 elders all stood at the entrance as they stared at Shen Jian in shock. Their hearts churned. Chapter 1700. The ancestor of the Mo clan. Just a single attack had claimed the arm of a mid-deity. It had even achieved a landslide victory, where the opponent could not resist at all. The opponent had basically been steamrolled. Could this really be achieved by someone who had only broken through to early deity a few months ago? Whether it was the patriarch of the Mo clan, Xiu, or even the 5 other elders, everyone aside from Jian Chen was stunned by this scene. The might of Shen Jian's attack had left all of them deeply stunned. Impossible, this is impossible. That person called Shen Jian is clearly just an early deity, and he has only broken through a few months ago. How can he possess such great strength? Mo Yun is a mid-deity, so he clearly possesses an absolute advantage over him, yet why has he been felled in a single attack? This is completely impossible. Elder Mo Shan supported the pale and haggard Mo Yun. He was unable to calm himself. He would have never believed what had just happened earlier was real. How is this Shen Jian so powerful? He cut off Mo Yun's arm with a single stroke. Oh my god, how is he an early deity? Even late deities or even peak deities can't achieve something like that. The elders from the Mo clan all gained a renewed opinion of Shen Jian. Within their admiration, there was also deep fear. The might of Shen Jian's attack had struck fear deep into the hearts of everyone present. Who is he? He's actually even stronger than a late deity despite only just becoming a deity. Looks like this Shen Jian is not simple. Xiu also stared at Shen Jian before glancing at Jian Chen. Her heart immediately jumped when she saw that Jian Chen's expression remained the same as before. Clearly, the strength Shen Jian displayed did not surprise him. Jian Chen clearly knows Shen Jian's strength. Shen Jian so strong, yet he still refers to him as a brother. There are only 2 reasons why something like this would happen. Either they really are extremely close with one another, or Jian Chen is powerful as well. Maybe not as great as Shen Jian, but not much weaker. Otherwise, it's impossible for him to shrug off the elders of the Audiobook sword sect. I also feel that Jian Chen's confidence doesn't come from Shen Jian. It looks like even without Shen Jian's assistance, he will be able to deal with the 2 elders. Mo Yen also stopped crying. She covered her mouth gently as she stared at Elder Mo Yun who had lost an arm. She had become completely stunned. She had never thought that an elder from the Audiobook sword sect would lose an arm before everyone's eyes just because of her matters. He was an elder at godhood after all. Mo Yen believed that as long as someone reached godhood, they would become a mighty existence, where even the patriarch of the clan had to treat them politely. They would only be second to the ancestors in their respective sects or clans in terms of status. Is he really the person I saved? Mo Yen stared at Shen Jian with a strange light as excitement gradually rose up from the bottom of her heart. Mo Yun, I'm standing right before you, so what do you plan on doing to teach me a lesson? Shen Jian walked over towards Mo Yun. He did not move quickly, nor did he let any of his presence leak out, so he seemed just like an ordinary person. However, his gradual approach pressured the 2 elders mentally. Mo Shan stepped backwards while supporting the injured Mo Yun. Now, the 2 of them no longer seemed confident or dignified. Instead, the expression on their faces had been replaced by a deep sense of fear and dread. Patriarch, Mo Shan clasped his fist towards the patriarch of the Mo clan. At that moment, he had completely forgotten about the dignity he should have possessed as a godhood expert. He seemed to be pleading for the patriarch to interfere. Although he did not state it openly, his intentions were delivered clearly. This was because Mo Shan had a feeling that if he did not yield today and continued like before, it was extremely likely for Shen Jian to kill the 2 of them right there. This was because he could see no fear in Shen Jian's eyes at all. The Audiobook sword sect meant nothing to him. The patriarch of the Mo clan sighed gently. Now that the Mo clan was in an extremely risky position, he could not afford to become complete enemies with the Atomo's sword sect. Please stay your hand, brother Shenjian. Although Elder Mo Yun has gone overboard with his words, he has already received the punishment he deserves. I hope you can do this for me and spare them. The patriarch clasped his fist towards Shenjian and spoke extremely politely. Seeing how the patriarch spoke for them, the two elders became relieved inside. When they looked at Shenjian who stood nearby, they did not feel like they were looking at a person but a brutal sword. Shenjian did not agree immediately. He looked at Jianchen and asked, "The person they offended is you. Do you want to spare them?" At that moment, everyone turned their gazes towards Jianchen. Before, no one truly attached any importance to Jianchen aside from the patriarch and Mo Yen in the Mo clan. However, everyone's opinion of Jianchen changed now. This Jianchen really makes people envious. He was actually able to make such a powerful friend. Sigh, why aren't I as lucky as him? A similar thought appeared in the heads of the 5 elders of the clan. Shenjian was already so powerful at early deity, he was even more powerful than a late deity. If his strength progressed to mid-deity or late deity, would that mean he would be able to fight against gods? Jianchen waved his hand and said to the 2 elders, "You can go. I won't pursue this matter today, but if there's a second time, I will not show any mercy." Jianchen did not want the Mo clan to cause too much trouble for the Atomo's sword sect before he understood the relationship between the 4 organizations in the region. He did not fear the Atomo's sword sect, but he did not want the Mo clan to be dragged in because of him. Jianchen still had a good opinion of the Mo clan, with Mo Yen in particular. She had saved him and Shenjian. Mo Shan and Mo Yun said nothing. They picked up the severed arm and left the clan in gloomily while the other disciples from the Atomo's sword sect all carried away the injured young master and the 3 other disciples injured by Jianchen behind the 2 elders. They had come impressively and with dignity, yet they were all dejected and in horrible shapes when they left. "Ha ha ha, brother Shenjian, I never thought you'd be a hidden expert. That attack earlier made me leap in fright. It made my heart jump." The patriarch made his way to Shenjian as he chuckled aloud. Very clearly, he was even more enthusiastic toward Shenjian. "Brother Shenjian, I never thought that you'd have such great mastery over the laws of the sword. It has really broadened our horizons. I also use the sword, so if you have any time to spare, please give me some guidance with regards to the sword." The 5 other elders all walked over as well. They all spoke with Shenjian enthusiastically. At this moment, the patriarch's face changed slightly. He immediately clasped his fist towards Jianchen and Shenjian and said, "Brother Shenjian, brother Jianchen, I have matters to attend to, so please excuse me. Please receive the 2 esteemed guests properly in my place." "Yes, father," Shiyu replied obediently. Her opinion of Shenjian and Jianchen was vastly different from before as well. Jianchen and Shenjian glanced towards the depths of the clans casually before looking away. They clasped their fist to see the patriarch off. At this moment, the patriarch stood politely within an ancient hall in the depths of the Mo clan. He completely lacked the dignity of a patriarch. Before him stood a burly, bare-chested, and bald-headed man. He only seemed to be in his early 40s, and he even seemed slightly younger than the patriarch. "Ancestor, you've emerged?" The patriarch stood before the bald man said politely. The bald man stared at the patriarch and said, "A god has appeared in the clan, so how can I not emerge?" The patriarch's face changed drastically when he heard that. He cried out, "What? A god?" Chapter 1701, A Visit from a God. A god has actually silently infiltrated our Mo clan. "Ancestor, may I ask who it is? Is it the one from the Liu family? Or is it the one from the Atomo's sword sect? Or the Ando clan?" The patriarch of the Mo clan asked politely. He was extremely grim. A god had appeared in the Mo clan. This was a significant matter. However, the patriarch was fortunate that the ancestor of the Mo clan had emerged from seclusion at a time like this, or else the consequences would have been unthinkable. The Mo clan was one of the 4 great organizations in the region, possessing quite the strength with several deities as elders. However, strength like this would only crumble before a god. If a god had infiltrated the clan, wiping out the entire place was only the matter of raising a hand. Even if all the elders in the clan fought against the god together, they would not be able to pose a threat to the god at all. Although there were a few legends in the saints' world where a few peak deities could kill ordinary gods, basically all of them were the prodigies of large sects and clans. It was impossible for a legend like that to happen in the Mo clan. The ancestor of the Mo clan stared at the shocked patriarch. A strange light flickered through his eyes, and he walked over to a seat steadily before sitting down. He said to the patriarch, "Have you really not realized?" The patriarch shook his head and replied in shame, "It's Junior who has been useless. I haven't discovered the god who has infiltrated the clan even now. If it were not for the ancestor suddenly emerging from seclusion, I probably would not even have known that a god has appeared in the clan." The patriarch sank into his thoughts and said, "I can't blame you now that you mention it. After all, your cultivation level hasn't reached that level yet, so it would be very natural for you to be incapable of sensing it." The ancestor became stern and asked, "Xiaofan, let me ask you, who is that person who chopped off Mo Yun's arm in a single stroke? Why has he appeared in our Mo clan?" The patriarch of the Mo clan was not slow-witted. When he heard the ancestor mention Shenjian and remembered the impressive strength he had displayed, he immediately linked Shenjian's identity to the god mentioned by the ancestor. He was stunned at first, and then his expression changed suddenly. His eyes widened as disbelief flooded his face. His heart churned wildly. "Ancestor, are you saying that brother Shenjian is a god?" The patriarch could no longer keep his calm, crying out uncontrollably. This news was like a clap of thunder in his head, and he was now completely dumbstruck. "So he's called Shenjian." "Correct, the god I was speaking of is him," murmured the ancestor. "Impossible, that's impossible. When brother Shenjian first came to our Mo clan, he was only at reciprocity. He only broke through to godhood a few months ago and is only an early deity right now. How can he be a god? Are you sure you haven't mistaken him for something else, ancestor?" The patriarch explained in a hurry. He felt very confused inside, as Shenjian had indeed only broken through to godhood recently. How had he become a god in the blink of an eye? The ancestor sighed gently. His expression became very mixed. He had become either envious or jealous. "Xiaofan, you're right. Shenjian's cultivation level is indeed at early godhood, but his comprehension of the laws of the sword has already reached the level of god." The ancestor was filled with mixed feelings. What? Brother Shenjian's comprehension of laws has already reached the level of god? The patriarch felt his mouth dry up. The various times he had interacted with Shenjian flashed through his head. He found it very difficult to believe that Shenjian's comprehension of laws had already reached such an unbelievable level. This Shenjian is a deviant. There are countless people in the saints' world who have reached the peak of their cultivation but cannot advance any further due to the lack of comprehension of laws. Even with the entire world in perspective, there are very few people who can comprehend laws much greater than their personal level of cultivation, yet Shenjian has done it. At the same time, I can feel that Shenjian did not make a breakthrough in his comprehension in our clan. In other words, his comprehension of the laws of the sword had already reached the level of God when he was still at the origin realm. When he struck out just then, I even felt that his comprehension of laws has exceeded mine. "It's extremely likely that it has reached mid-god," said the ancestor. He was extremely envious. His cultivation level had reached early god many years ago, but he had never been able to break through to mid-god as he was unable to further his comprehension of laws. He was not the only one. Even the ancestor of the Liu family, Ando clan, and the god from the Otomo's sword sect were the same. The laws of the world limited their strengths, preventing them from becoming mid-gods. The patriarch was completely stunned. Shen Jian, who had only broken through a few months ago, had actually comprehended the laws at the level of mid-god. In other words, did that not mean he could directly become a mid-god as long as he had sufficient resources? That would make him even more powerful than the ancestors of the four organizations. Yener actually saved a god. The patriarch shivered inside when he thought of that. Although Shen Jian was only an early deity right now, the patriarch had already begun to treat him as a mid-god because his comprehension of laws had reached that level. He would be able to cultivate to mid-god without any obstructions, unlike the elders in the clan. Even though they had reached peak deity, they would not necessarily be able to break through to God for the rest of their lives. This was because cultivation could be slowly accumulated, while the comprehension of laws would not grow with cultivation. It was exactly because of how difficult it was to comprehend the laws of the world that peak reciprocity cultivators did not possess much status in the Mo clan. Xingfeng, come with me to visit Shen Jian. Shen Jian has always kept his strength concealed in our Mo clan. If it weren't for what happened today, we probably still wouldn't know he was a god. Since he doesn't want to expose his strength to the public, we'll follow through with his intentions. Don't raise the attention of others when we go visit, and keep what I told you today a secret, just in case you make Shen Jian unhappy, understood? The ancestor said. He seemed like a rash man, but he was actually extremely sharp-minded. Yes, ancestor. I'll go arrange this immediately. At night on the same day, the entire clan was lit up brightly. Groups of guards patrolled around the clan. They were all expressionless and cold. Greetings to the patriarch. Greetings to the patriarch. Near the seventh hall, figures flickered before the light of the lanterns. The polite voices of patrolling guards would ring out. The patriarch strode over with his hands behind his back. To no surprise, he was making his way towards where Shen Jian resided. A person in black clothes followed the patriarch silently. He moved without making a single sound. He wore a veiled hat that concealed his appearance and face, making him seem like a phantom through the night. The patrolling guards would even miss his existence if they did not pay close attention. Chapter 1702, Information regarding the treasure. The patriarch directly arrived before the seventh hall. He did not directly enter and instead got a guard to pass on the message to Shen Jian. He would only take the black-clothed person behind him into the hall after obtaining Shen Jian's permission. Jian Chen and Shen Jian sat on chairs within the hall. They seemed like they had been waiting for quite some time already. There were two large and empty chairs placed before them. Please, Shen Jian sat on his seat and gestured for the patriarch and the black-clothed person to sit down while he studied the black-clothed man. Although Jian Chen did not say anything, he also stared at the black-clothed man. The patriarch laughed aloud and clasped his fist. Brother Shen Jian, Brother Jian Chen, looks like you already knew we were coming. I really must apologize that we've come so late. We've made you wait. There's no need to be so polite, Patriarch. We've disturbed you for several months now, with today in particular, causing quite a lot of problems. The Patriarch is already kind enough for not chasing us away. Shen Jian clasped his fist back at him. The Patriarch shrugged indifferently and said, Brother Shen Jian is exaggerating. It's all because the two of you that my daughter didn't suffer too much abuse. Really, it should be me thanking you instead. The Patriarch paused slightly after reaching this point. He looked at the person beside him, and he revealed an expression of reverence. He said, Brother Shen Jian, Brother Jian Chen, I'd like to introduce you to the ancestor of our Mo clan. The black-clothed person removed the veiled hat and revealed his bald head. The bald head shone brightly under candlelight, making it quite eye-catching. To no surprise, the man was the god of the Mo clan. With his strength, he did not need to give any prior warning when entering the halls. He could even directly enter the halls if he wished, and the guards would not discover him either. However, to show respect for Shenjian, he had gone through the usual process in this visit. "I am Mo Ling. The two esteemed guests are far too polite." The ancestor clasped his fist towards Jian Chen and Shenjian. He did not put on a haughty appearance at all. Jian Chen and Shenjian both stood up to return the greetings of the ancestor. They asked about each other's well-being before all sitting down. "I've been spending the recent years in secluded cultivation so that I could deepen my comprehension of the laws of the world and thus break through to mid-god. It has already been a very long time since I've paid attention to the affairs of the Mo clan. When Brother Shenjian struck out today, your powerful laws of the sword stirred me, and only after leaving seclusion did I discover that our Mo clan actually had an esteemed guest like Brother Shenjian. I have been impolite, so please forgive me," the ancestor said sincerely. He was telling the truth. If he had known Shenjian's strength earlier, he definitely would have emerged from seclusion much earlier on to receive him personally. "Brother Mo Ling is just too polite. Speaking of which, the two of us were saved by the young lady of your esteemed clan. We still haven't been able to thank her," Shenjian said. "Did something like that happen?" Mo Ling purposefully acted surprised. He became slightly curious and asked, "Brother Shenjian's comprehension of the laws of the world has completely exceeded mine, so I believe no deity is still Brother Shenjian's opponent. Was the person who injured Brother Shenjian a god?" Shenjian did not reply. He looked at Jian Chen as if he was directing the question to him. Jian Chen thought through everything quickly before nodding back at him. However, Shenjian's actions had caught the interest of the ancestor of the Mo clan. He studied Jian Chen secretly and tried to guess what was going on. This was because he could not tell Jian Chen's strength accurately. Just from the vague presence he gave off, he felt that Jian Chen was at the origin realm, yet also at godhood. He was unable to tell clearly. "Brother Mo Ling is right. The person who injured the two of us back then was indeed a god," said Shenjian. "There are only so many gods in our Dong'an province. May I ask who the god was? I might just happen to know them, so I'll be able to provide some information or even provide some secret help," said the ancestor. His face had already become rather stern. He had to be cautious about being drawn into the disagreements between other gods. "It's the ancestor of the Lu family," Jian Chen said very calmly. "It's actually Lu Tian." Mo Ling beamed with joy. He seemed slightly ecstatic. The patriarch who sat beside him smiled happily as well. At that moment, he suddenly felt his entire body lighten by a substantial amount. He still felt rather nervous when he learnt that the person who injured Shenjian and Jian Chen was a god. He was afraid of accidentally provoking the gods of other organizations. However, after learning that the god who injured Shenjian and Jian Chen was actually the ancestor of the Lu family, both of them became extremely relieved. Currently, the greatest threat that the Mo clan faced came from the Lu family. The Lu family had already become the greatest enemy of the Mo clan, yet Shenjian, whose comprehension had already reached mid-god and possessed extremely terrifying strength, just happened to have grievances with him as well. With that being that case, there was nothing they needed to fear when trying to rope in the two of them. They could even work together. If Shenjian wished to assist the Mo clan, then even if the Lu family and the Ando clan banded together, they would still be able to hold their ground. Jian Chen immediately became interested when he saw how relieved and joyful the patriarch and the ancestor had become. He asked, "Does your Mo clan have grievances with the Lu family?" "That's right. The Lu family is indeed the enemy of our Mo clan," Mo Ling said happily. After a moment of hesitation, determination flooded his eyes, and he said, Brother Shenjian, Brother Jianchen, I'll tell you the truth. Our Mo clan, the Lu family, and the Ando clan all possess a treasure. Through this treasure, we can enter a secret place that possesses great fortune. Originally, our three clans possessed rather similar power, so we were at peace with each other. However, ever since Yu'er appeared in our Mo clan, the balance was broken. Jian Chen's interest was piqued when he heard Mo Ling mention a treasure because he had also obtained a treasure from the hands of the Lu family. A gleam of light shone through Shen Jian's eyes as well, but he did not show anything on his face. Mo Ling continued, Yu'er's talent is very great. She reached godhood in an extremely short amount of time, and if she were to continue with this speed, she would become a god before long. However, it was exactly because of Yu'er's existence that the Lu family and the Ando clan became uneasy. They were afraid that Yu'er would be able to grow to a point where she would directly threaten the two clans, where they might not even be able to keep their treasures any longer. As a result, the Lu family and the Ando clan had begun collaborating secretly in the past few years. They'll be waging a destructive war against our clan at any time. The collaboration between the Lu family and the Ando clan would mean that they possess two gods. Holding any one of them back with my own strength is no difficulty, but I'll only be able to flee desperately if I have to face both of them. Mo Ling looked at Shen Jian and Jian Chen and asked sincerely, Brother Shen Jian, Brother Jian Chen, since you already have grievances with the Lu family, I hope you can work with us in fending off the two clans. As long as Brother Shen Jian is willing to assist our Mo clan, we'll be willing to share the fortune granted by the treasure with you. Brother Mo Ling, may I ask if you recognize this? At this moment, an exquisitely crafted box appeared in Jian Chen's hand. He opened it without any hesitation. An incomplete piece of jade lay inside quietly. Chapter 1703, Origins of the Jade. A mysterious presence enough to cause the depths of everyone's souls to shiver immediately permeated the surroundings as soon as the jade was exposed. It pressured the souls of everyone. Let alone deities, even gods would feel pressured before it. The moment the patriarch and the ancestor caught sight of the jade, they became stunned. Disbelief flooded their faces. They were no longer able to remain composed when they sensed the extremely familiar presence from the jade. Their faces suddenly changed and they leapt out of their seats. Their eyes had widened to the size of dinner plates in disbelief. It's God King Duanmu's jade. Mo Ling cried out uncontrollably. The presence the jade emitted could not be faked. He had even begun to doubt his eyes. God King Duanmu's jade? Looks like Fairy Hao Yu was right. This piece of jade really is the key to a God King's dwelling, while the fortune that Mo Ling was speaking of before must be this God King's tomb, Jian Chen celebrated secretly. This really was a case of searching around fruitlessly only for what they were looking for to find them. What he had been most disappointed about when he obtained the piece of jade was that he did not know where the other pieces were, or the location of the God King's dwelling, so he had deemed the piece of jade as a useless piece of trash. However, he had never thought that the patriarch of the Mo clan would just happen to know about the jade. Moreover, from the look of things, he seemed to know quite a lot. He even seemed to know where the other pieces of the jade were. Brother Jian Chen, how do you have God King Duanmu's jade? Where did it come from? Mo Ling asked urgently. Even though he had already thought of the possibility, he still wanted to confirm it from Jian Chen's mouth. It really was a coincidence now that we mention it. The treasure of the Lu family was actually stolen by a traitorous elder of theirs, Lu Fei. When Lu Fei fled with the treasure, we just happened to come across him. He wanted to use his unique cultivation method to devour us so that he could recover his wounds, but in the end, not only did he fail, he was slain by us instead. As a result, the treasure he stole ended up with us as well, Jian Chen said slowly as he smiled plainly. He had truly obtained the treasure through such coincidence. This God King Duanmu's jade really is the lifeblood of the Lu family. They cannot afford to lose it. Lu Tian must have tried to take it back with everything he had. Brother Jianchen, Brother Shenjian, if I've guessed correctly, you encountered Lu Tian soon after you had obtained the treasure and your wounds came from him, said Mo Ling. Only now did he realize that the Jianchen he did not pay particular attention to was probably not as simple as he seemed. A treasure like God King Duanmu's jade was held by Jianchen and not Shenjian, who had reached mid-god in his comprehension of laws. Just that showed that Jianchen was no weaker than Shenjian. The patriarch of the Mo clan also realized this. At that moment, his gaze towards Jianchen became rather surprised and doubtful. Jianchen nodded, "You're right. Soon after we killed Lu Fei, the ancestor of the Lu family came in pursuit. He was certain that someone was scheming for Lu Tian to steal the treasure secretly, so he treated us as the people behind it all. As a result, we engaged him in a great battle. The battle was extremely dangerous, where we almost failed to make it out alive. Brother Jianchen, Brother Shenjian, you're actually able to put up a fight against a god when you work together?" The patriarch cried out. Only now did he suddenly realize that Jianchen, who everyone missed, actually possessed very great strength. Even before a god, he had the power to fight back. Shenjian said, "The patriarch really has overestimated me. Although my comprehension of the laws of the sword has reached the level of God, my personal cultivation was just too weak. Back then, I was only at the peak of reciprocity, so I could not fight back at all." Jianchen handled the ancestor of the Lu family completely alone, but unfortunately, that fellow managed to escape in the end. What? Lu Tian escaped? Mo Ling and the ancestor both became stunned as disbelief flooded their faces. Their hearts churned wildly. Not only had Jianchen fought against a god all by himself, but he even managed to chase the ancestor of the Lu family away in the end. This was just too astounding to them. At that moment, Mo Ling and the patriarch's opinion of Jianchen changed completely. The patriarch, in particular, now looked towards Jianchen with admiration from the bottom of his heart. Jianchen did not dwell on the ancestor's topic. He pointed at the box on the table and said, "Patriarch, Brother Mo Ling, may I ask for some information regarding the jade?" "Of course you can. I'll answer all your questions to the best of my knowledge," Mo Ling agreed straightforwardly. He calmed himself down before tidying his thoughts. Memories flooded his eyes, and he said, "We know this piece of jade as God King Duanmu's jade because the jade contains a sliver of the power from God King Duanmu's soul. As a result, it's also the only key to God King Duanmu's dwelling. We don't know much regarding God King Duanmu himself. We've only learned from some ancient records passed down by our ancestors that God King Duanmu had passed away in his dwelling for some reason. He had a disciple before he died. Soon after God King Duanmu passed away, the disciple faced the ambush of 6 experts outside the dwelling. Although the disciple was an over-god, the 6 experts were also over-gods, so none of them were any weaker than God King Duanmu's disciple. As a result, the disciple could not even flee against the encirclement of the 6 over-gods. He died in the end. After the disciple died, the jade that he used to enter the dwelling ended up with the 6 over-gods. However, as the over-gods all possessed selfish motives, they all began fighting over the ownership of the jade, resulting in an intense battle in the end. In that battle, half of the 6 over-gods died, leaving only 3 people alive in the end. The 3 people all suffered different wounds as well, while the God King Duanmu's jade was shattered into 3 pieces, where each over-god possessed a piece. Chapter 1704, Joining Forces. Due to their limited talent, it was extremely difficult for those 3 over-gods to reach God King, so they wanted to search for a fortuitous encounter in God King Duanmu's dwelling so that they could break through. Hence, they secretly struck an agreement of non-aggression. Afterwards, the 3 over-gods would often work together to enter God King Duanmu's dwelling. However, God King Duanmu was a god king after all, and he was rumored to be one who had made it onto the God King's throne. Although he had failed to make it to the top 1,000, his strength was still extremely terrifying, belonging to the very apex of God Kings. Even after passing away, what he had cast down in his dwelling remained extremely powerful, making it difficult for even overgods to venture inside. The 3 overgods entered God King Duanmu's dwelling many times, but they still failed to reach the very core of the place. Instead, they became quite injured from the formations within the dwelling and even suffered injuries to the sources of their lives, leaving behind injuries that were almost impossible to recover from. Perhaps they understood that they would never be able to reach the center of God King Duanmu's dwelling for the rest of their lives, but the 3 overgods were unwilling to see everything they had strived towards in all those years go to waste. As a result, they all founded their own clans and passed down the information regarding God King Duanmu's jade to their most important juniors. Jian Chen's interest was piqued and the ancestor spoke until there. He said, "Are the clans founded by the 3 overgods the Mo clan, the Lu family, and the Ando clan?" Mo Ling nodded, "Correct, it's our Mo clan, the Lu family, and the Ando clan." The knowledge of God King Duanmu's jade was carefully guarded by the 3 clans, where only members of the upper echelon had the right to know. Mo Ling stared at Jian Chen deeply. This was the first time their Mo clan had told an outsider about this important news. However, Mo Ling had no choice. Jian Chen and Shen Jian were so powerful that the Mo clan needed to rope them in regardless of the price, or they definitely would not be able to fend off the combined attack of the Lu family and the Ando clan. Without any doubt, the matter regarding God King Duanmu's jade was important, but to Mo Ling and the Patriarch, the clan was very important as well. Clearly, they had chosen between the two and had opted to protect the clan. Although they could reveal the information to the more powerful clans in the Dong'an province and seek help from them, Mo Ling was also worried that these clans might not end up helping in the end and would instead turn against them once they learnt about God King Duanmu's jade. However, revealing the matter to Jian Chen and Shen Jian was the safest method in Mo Ling's eyes. This was because the talents of Jian Chen and Shen Jian were just far too impressive. They would definitely be deemed as prodigies if they joined any peak clan with what they possessed, so just what they could receive to nurture them would be worth much more than a God King's dwelling. Then what about the ancestor who founded your 3 clans? Jian Chen asked. This was the matter he truly cared about. Those overgods were terrifying existences who could run amok in the entire Dong'an province without anyone to stop them. If they were still alive, he needed to be careful, and he would have to hold off his plans against the Lu family. Mo Ling's face sank. The ancestor of our Mo clan and the other 2 clans suffered from incurable injuries at the very source of their lives from their injuries in the dwelling, so they became weaker and weaker. After the ancestors took us into the God King's dwelling for one last time, they never appeared again. They've already fallen in the God King's dwelling. Jian Chen immediately let out a breath of relief. As long as the overgod ancestor of the Lu family was dead, he had nothing to worry about. Mo Ling, can God King Duanmu's dwelling only be opened when the 3 pieces of jade are assembled? Shen Jian asked. Mo Ling nodded, correct. As long as the 3 pieces of jade are combined, you'll be able to enter God King Duanmu's dwelling. However, the dwelling is rather strange. There isn't any origin energy in there to be absorbed, so once you overwork yourself, the only way to recover would be through pills and a few heavenly resources. As a result, our 3 clans have always made sufficient preparations before we entered the dwelling. Now that the Lu family's piece is in Brother Jian Chen's hand, we have a total of 2 pieces on our side if you include the piece from our clan. We just lack the piece of jade from the Ando clan, the Patriarch said rather excitedly. Jian Chen and Shen Jian looked at one another. Now that the whereabouts of all the pieces of jade were known, the 2 of them became interested in working with the Mo clan. After all, it was a God King's dwelling. It possessed treasures that could even interest overgods, where they would even be willing to lay down their lives. Jian Chen, you have to enter God King Duanmu's dwelling, so quickly agree to work with the Mo clan, and then get the piece of jade from the Ando clan as soon as possible. Fairy Hao Yu's voice suddenly rang out in Jian Chen's head at this moment. Jian Chen gritted his teeth and said, Brother Mo Ling, will help you fend off the Lu family, Ando clan, or even the problems caused by the Automo's sword sect. We want you to take us into God King Duanmu's dwelling in return. Alright, no problem, Mo Ling immediately agreed enthusiastically. Their temporary teamwork was agreed upon just like this. Afterwards, Jian Chen also told them about the high-grade divine crystals that had appeared in the Dark Cloud Mountains for the Lu family. However, there was nothing that Mo Ling could do about that. All he could do was stand to one side and watch on, as their clan did not possess the power to interfere. After all, the current Mo clan was no longer the same as the past. Ever since their over-god ancestors had died, the Mo clan, Lu family, and Ando clan had all gradually declined. The patriarch left the hall with Mo Ling. When they left, Mo Ling put on the black, veiled hat again to cover up his appearance, leaving with an extremely low profile. No one else in the Mo clan knew that their god ancestor had already emerged from seclusion quietly and had a lengthy conversation with Jian Chen and Shen Jian. Before they left, the patriarch left behind a hefty gift. It was a space ring with 2 million low-grade divine crystals. It was exactly because I ran out of divine crystals that I wanted to find you. I never thought that the patriarch would gift us such a large pile. I think I'll be able to reach mid-deity in a month at most. Shen Jian showed no politeness to Jian Chen. He directly took the 2 million divine crystals and continued his cultivation. Jian Chen smiled and did not mind the divine crystals being taken away. As long as there were sufficient time and resources, he even wished for Shen Jian to reach late deity before dealing with the Lu family ancestor. After all, the stronger he was, the more difficult it would be for the Lu family ancestor to escape. In the morning of the next day, Mo Yen clearly sensed that her father seemed to have become a completely different person overnight. He smiled happily all day long. Not only did he look at her with a much stranger gaze, but he constantly praised her, completely confusing Mo Yen as to what had happened. The Automo's sword sect resided in a mist-shrouded mountain range. Currently, the sect master and all their elders had gathered within a hall. This included the young master, Mo Shan, and Mo Yun. However, both the young master and Mo Yun's right sleeves were empty, making it quite evident that they had lost an arm. Humph, the Mo clan is just too arrogant. They actually severed the arm of Elder Mo Shan. They've basically slapped us in the face. We went with such great gifts to propose the marriage. It would be fine if the Mo clan just turned them down, yet they had to take the arm of Elder Mo Shan as well. Even Xiaofan has been injured. They've gone too far. The elders of the sect all spoke righteously. Although none of them liked Xiaofan, they were close to Mo Shan and Mo Yun. Seeing how Mo Yun had been humiliated, they all became extremely furious. The sect master sat on the throne there with a sunken face as well. Xiaofan was his only son. He had basically raised his son in the palms of his hands, spoiling him greatly. He could not even bear to scold or hit him normally. As his son had suffered greatly after visiting the Mo clan, he was furious as well. Killing intent surged from him as his eyes had almost become ablaze with rage. No matter what the reason is, the Mo clan actually dares to sever my son's arm. We'll sever their hopes in response then, the sect master said icily. That's right, sect master. We have to make the Mo clan pay a price to show them that we, the Automo's sword sect, cannot be trifled with, an elder said with a clasped fist. The sect master nodded slightly as icy-cold killing intent surged from his eyes. He said grimly, "Don't worry, this matter won't just end like this. When the Lu family and the Ando clan attack the Mo clan, I'll request the ancestor to personally step in and kill Shiyu so that the Mo clan can writhe in pain as well." The Mo clan is almost done for anyway, so there is no need for us to fear them. Chapter 1705, Mid-Deity. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed since Shunjian severed Mo Yun's arm. Although Shunjian had not formally become the seventh elder of the Mo clan, all the elders in the clan held him in high esteem after he revealed his shocking strength. Everyone became clearly more enthusiastic towards him, and they even possessed more admiration and politeness. With the increase in his status, the elders in the Mo clan would often visit the seventh hall to see him, but without any exceptions, they all failed to see Shunjian. Even Jian Chen rarely appeared in the Mo clan. Both of them had entered secluded cultivation, so the visiting elders could only leave without seeing anyone. Among the people of the Mo clan, only the patriarch and the ancestor of the Mo clan knew just how powerful Jian Chen and Shunjian were. Only they understood that Jian Chen, who always maintained a low profile, was the strongest. However, the patriarch and the ancestor guarded this secret extremely tightly. They did not tell a third person, not even Shiyu. This was because the existence of Jian Chen and Shunjian had become the greatest trump card of the Mo clan. They were their greatest source of confidence, as well as what they would rely on the most against the Lu family and the Ando clan. Shunjian had remained in secluded cultivation for the entire month, working towards mid-deity. As for Jian Chen, he had entered seclusion to comprehend the way of the sword as he could not make any progress with his chaotic body. I can refine the first strand of profound sword chi at the major achievement of sword origin and the second strand at great perfection. I can refine the third at the major achievement of sword spirit, the fourth at the great perfection of sword spirit, the fifth at the major achievement of sword immortal, and so on. However, if I want to refine all 9 strands, I'll have to reach sword god. Jian Chen's calm eyes shone sharply like swords as he sat within the room. Just his gaze had illuminated the gloomy room slightly. The sword spirit said that sword god is no longer divided into minor achievement, partial achievement, and major achievement. Sword god is the limits of the way of the sword. Countless powerful immortals across the entire immortals world use swords, but only the old master of the twin swords and the nirvanic sword immortal were able to reach sword god. Looks like sword god is equivalent to 100% of the laws in the saints' world, Jian Chen thought. Comprehending 100% of the laws was reaching the limit. Someone who could achieve that would have already fused with the way itself, becoming part of the world and representing the way. They would be supreme, an extremely terrifying existence. Sword god is still too distant for me. I only wish to reach the great perfection of sword origin right now. Once I reach that, I'll be able to refine the second strand of profound sword chi. Not only will it strengthen the first strand I possess right now, but I'll be able to use the profound sword chi twice as well. Back then, the ancestor of the Lu family had only managed to survive my first strand of profound sword chi with his strength at early god and after wasting away several defensive treasures. If he did not possess those defensive treasures, my first strand of profound sword chi might have slain him. If I reach the major achievement of sword origin, the profound sword chi will become powerful enough to deal with the ancestor of the Lu family. Even if he has defensive treasures, they won't be able to stop my profound sword chi as long as they're not astoundingly great. If I use both strands, I might even be able to kill mid-gods, Jian Chen thought. He was filled with eagerness. Under the situation where he could not make any progress with his chaotic body, the only way for him to become stronger was to break through with his comprehensions of the laws of the sword. If he reached the great perfection of sword origin and refined the second strand of profound sword chi, there would be less than a handful of people left in the Dong'an province that could threaten him. I've already remained at the major achievement of sword origin for quite some time now. Great perfection is only a step away, so I'll be able to reach it as long as I have some more time. Jian Chen's eyes became extremely deep and profound. It was extremely difficult for other people to make any progress in the comprehension of laws, and they would require lengthy periods of comprehension. However, Jianchen only needed a period of time that seemed insignificant to others if he wanted to make any progress in the laws of the sword. After all, Jianchen's talent was exceedingly great. He was extremely compatible with the way of the sword, basically making him a natural expert of the sword. At this moment, a powerful presence suddenly appeared nearby. At the same time, the origin energy in the surroundings began to churn, forming a tremendous whirl of origin energy before long around the 7th hall in the Mo clan. Shen Jian has broken through. Jianchen's eyes lit up and he immediately emerged from seclusion. At the same time, the eyes of the 6 other elders all snapped open at the same time in their own residences. They looked towards the 7th hall, and they were all shocked. This is Shen Jian's presence. He actually broke through again. How does Shen Jian cultivate so quickly? He only reached early deity a few months ago, yet he has broken through to mid-deity already. How does Shen Jian cultivate? It has only been a few months, yet he has gone from early deity to mid-deity. If this continues, it won't be long before he reaches God. How is his talent even more impressive than Shiyu's? None of the elders were able to remain composed anymore. They all stared at the 7th hall in shock. Only the patriarch remained calm as if he had been expecting it all. The patriarch of the Mo clan and the 6 elders all gathered outside Shen Jian's residence to congratulate him for breaking through. There were only so many elders across the entire Mo clan. For them, any improvement in strength was an extremely difficult matter, so whenever someone at godhood broke through, it would be something that the entire clan would celebrate. Jianchen stood in the center of the hall in his white robes. Although he did not emit any presences at all, he seemed to have become a sharp sword. Jianchen's eyes were not as calm as they were normally either. They had become extraordinarily sharp, like drawn swords that shone with a luster they were supposed to possess. He had already been waiting for several months for Shen Jian to reach mid-deity. Jianchen looked outside. His sharp gaze seemed to pierce through the various obstacles, allowing him to see the patriarch and the elders standing outside. His lips twitched, and he sent a message to the guards outside, "Tell them to leave. Tell them that Shen Jian is continuing his cultivation and is not seeing anyone." The peak reciprocity guard who heard Jianchen's voice immediately became hesitant. The people he would be telling off were all the godhood elders in the Mo clan after all, and this would even include the current patriarch of the clan. However, the guard only hesitated for a split second before he walked over politely and passed on Jianchen's message to them. The patriarch did not mind at all. After chuckling aloud, he clasped his fist towards the 7th hall before leaving with Shiyu. He showed no displeasure at all. The other elders all smiled resplendently before returning to their residences as well. "This Shen Jian is acting even more haughty than me," Shiyu said rather unhappily beside the patriarch. She did not mind the fact that Shen Jian did not want to see the other elders. He did possess such strength after all. However, he had gone too far in not seeing her father. After all, her father was the current patriarch of the Mo clan. Do not be rude." However, before Shiyu could even finish her words, the patriarch's face changed slightly, and he immediately scolded her sternly. Shiyu was stunned. She had rarely seen her father show such a stern expression. "Father?" Shiyu was rather perplexed. Even though Shen Jian was very powerful, chopping off Mo Yun's arm in a single stroke, there was just no need for her father to act like that. The patriarch told Shiyu sternly, You have to be polite towards brother Jianchen and Shen Jian in the future. Be respectful. Do not make them displeased, understood?" With that, the patriarch directly left. He had watched Shiyu grow up, so he trusted her dearly. Although he could not tell her directly about the strength that Jianchen and Shen Jian possessed, he had already expressed a few things to her secretly and discreetly. Shiyu stared at her father's back. The patriarch's words rang through her head as she became both surprised and doubtful. Chapter 1706, A Gathering of Gods. After reaching mid-deity, Shen Jian spent several days consolidating his cultivation before he emerged from secluded cultivation. When do we set off? Shen Jian immediately asked, and he saw Jian Chen. The two of them spared the small talk, as they no longer needed things like that with their current relationship. Tonight, said Jian Chen. He revealed heavy killing intent in his eyes. The ancestor of the Lu family knew his greatest secret, so he needed to eliminate the ancestor regardless of the price. Shen Jian nodded. Even if he were alone, he could put up a fight against an early god after breaking through to mid-deity, coupled with his major achievement of sword origin. If Jian Chen were present, killing an early god would no longer be a problem. On the same night, Jian Chen and Shen Jian left the Mo clan quietly. Only the god in the Mo clan, the ancestor, seemed to have sensed their departure, while everyone else, including the patriarch, knew nothing. From within the depths of the Mo clan, Mo Ling stared outside as his eyes shone with an eager light. He murmured, "Looks like Shen Jian and Jian Chen are already moving against the Lu family. They've already become rather eager just after breaking through. Looks like they're vengeful people, yet they just happen to possess such great power and talent as well. We can't offend people like that no matter what, unless we are completely confident about killing them. Otherwise, even those large clans and sects across the Saints' world won't be able to withstand their wrath once they fully mature." Just how lucky was Mo Yen? Just some people she saved outside would be so impressive. I wonder if they're a blessing or a curse to our Mo clan. In the present at the very least, they're a blessing, I guess. Shen Jian and Jian Chen shot towards the Lu family. Under their full speed, they crossed over 1 billion kilometers in just a few hours and arrived near the Lu family. This time, Jian Chen and Shen Jian had come prepared. They had complete confidence in preventing the Lu family ancestor from fleeing like last time. Once the ancestor of the Lu family was dead, the other people in the Lu family would no longer be able to pose a threat to the two of them at all. At that time, all the wealth that the Lu family had accumulated across the years would belong to them. Although the wealth might not be enough for Jian Chen to reach the 10th layer of the chaotic body, it would be more than enough for Shen Jian to break through again. It might even be enough for him to directly become a god. Once Shen Jian became a god, they would have the power to put up a fight even against the more powerful clans in the Dong'an province with Jian Chen and Mo Ling backing him up. Oh no, so many gods have appeared in the Lu family. However, Jian Chen's face changed as soon as they approached the Lu family. He and Shen Jian immediately erased their presences and approached carefully. These gods all gave off powerful presences in the Lu family, and with so many standing close to one another, the presence became even stronger. It could even be sensed from far away, so Jian Chen had discovered the gods while they had not discovered him as they were too distant. Jian Chen and Shen Jian approached the Lu family carefully. They discovered from afar that there were actually 6 gods in the air above the Lu family. They were all bathed in light, making it impossible to see them clearly. They stood there as 6 sources of light that illuminated the surroundings while their clashing presences enveloped the entire Lu family. Lu family, think about it. Are you willing to work with our Desan clan? At this moment, a dignified voice rang out from above the Lu family. One of the gods had spoken. Lu family, our Shangyun clan sincerely invites you to join forces with us. What do you think of it? A second dignified voice rang out as well. It was another god. Our Jin family invites the patriarch of the Lu family to visit. Our Kong family also invites the patriarch of the Lu family to visit. All 6 gods above the Lu family spoke out. They all represented their own, powerful clans. From afar, Jian Chen and Shen Jian became stern when they saw this scene. They were not unfamiliar with the clans that these 6 gods represented. They were all from the more powerful clans in the Dong'an province. Any single one of them was far more powerful than the Mo clan, Otomo's sword sect, Ando clan, or Lu family. This was because the minimum standard to gain a footing in the provincial city was to possess 3 early gods, and that was only the minimum. In reality, many of the clans in the provincial city possessed mid-gods or even late gods. Looks like news of the Lu family's high-grade divine crystal mine has been leaked and many more powerful clans have learnt about it, Shen Jian said gruffly. What they least wanted to see had finally happened. At this moment, another god's presence rapidly appeared from the distance. An old man flew towards the Lu family with lightning speed. His face sunk drastically when he saw the several gods gathered in the sky. Ancestor, you've finally returned. The patriarch of the Lu family immediately became relieved when he saw the old man arrive. The gathering of gods from many powerful clans in the Dong'an province had pressured the patriarch of the Lu family heavily. The old man was the ancestor of the Lu family, Lu Tian. At such an important moment, he had finally hurried back from the royal city. However, he had never expected the matter that he least wanted to see would happen as soon as he had come back. Lu Tian hovered in the sky with a sunken face. After a moment of silence, he clasped his hands towards the gods and said, "Everyone, please gather in the main hall." The 6 gods all clasped their fists towards Lu Tian. After all, Lu Tian was also a fellow god. He possessed a similar status to them. They all followed Lu Tian into the Lu family. "Looks like we can't kill Lu Tian for now," Jian Chen said to Shen Jian secretly while keeping his presence hidden. Shen Jian nodded and asked, "What do we do now?" After a moment of silence, Jian Chen gritted his teeth, "Let's go to the Dark Cloud Mountains and hope that the powerful clans haven't sent anyone there." Immediately, the 2 of them set off. A black-clothed man stood before a middle-aged man in luxurious robes in a bow within a large manor in the provincial city. "Patriarch, the news about the Dark Cloud Mountains has been leaked. Quite a few clans in the provincial city have learnt about it, and several gods have already gone to the Lu family," said the black-clothed man. The middle-aged man's eyes narrowed and he sighed gently. "It has already been leaked? Looks like you really can't contain fire with paper. We've already devoted ourselves to locking down the news, yet they still learnt about it. It's just that they're moving a little too quickly. Ancestor Yen is still out journeying right now. Zhang Yi, you can go." Under the request of the ancestor from the Lu family, Ando Fu emerged from a cave while guarding the Dark Cloud Mountains. He said helplessly, "The powerful clans have still ended up learning about this place in the end. Sigh, all those gods have already gone to the Lu family. Before long, someone else will own this mine. There's no point in me guarding this place any longer." Ando Fu arrived at the chasm and directly found one of the elders stationed there. He said, "The people of the Dong'an province have already gone to the Lu family, so I've also completed Lu Tian's request. I am going to leave soon." The elder bowed towards Ando Fu politely before offering up a space ring. He said, "We've troubled Senior." Ando Fu accepted the space ring and checked through it. He nodded in satisfaction before leaving without any reluctance at all. Chapter 1707, Robbery 2. The elder stationed at the mine watched Ando Fu leave, and his polite expression disappeared rapidly. It was replaced by a sneer. "The ancestor of the Ando clan sure has a large appetite. He has only cultivated here for a few months, yet he wants half of our divine crystals. Even though it's only half of all the divine crystals we've excavated in a few months, the miners are no longer the sainthood cultivators from before but the origin realm guards of our Lu family. It would obviously be much faster. I really wonder why the patriarch would agree to such a deal. In my opinion, just giving him a third would have been more than enough." The elder sighed when he reached this point. Regret covered his face. "It's just a pity that the mysterious expert who attacked us a few months ago did not appear again. We've let the Ando clan benefit from this so easily." A short old man flew over from away. He bowed towards the elder and said, "Elder Lu Yun, we've been collecting more and more high-grade divine crystals recently. This one believes that the mine is extremely likely to be a high-grade one. Elder Lu Yu, please take a look at this. The old man quickly pulled out a transparent crystal the size of a head from his space ring. It was a high-grade divine crystal. Even for Elder Lu Yun, it was the first time he had seen such a large piece of high-grade divine crystal. He immediately became surprised, but gloom soon replaced his surprise. He sighed, let alone it being high-grade, we can't even do anything if it was supreme grade. It's not going to belong to us soon. The only thing we can blame is our lack of power to protect this treasure. Pass on the order that everyone much speed up their excavation. Gods of the Dong'an province have appeared in the clan, so they'll appear here very soon. We have to excavate as many high-grade divine crystals as possible before that happens. Yes, Elder Lu Yun. I'll pass on the order immediately. The old man became stern as well, and he ran off quickly. This old man was the supervisor of the mine before, but ever since an elder was stationed here a few months ago, he was reduced to a miner. Aside from him, even the guards there had become miners. No one sat around idly apart from the elder. Before long, two figures shot over through the outskirts of the dark cloud mountains. They moved extremely quickly, arriving above the chasm in the mountains in a few moments. They radiated with powerful sword intent that flooded the surroundings. This chasm was where the high-grade divine crystal mine was located. The elder's face changed suddenly in the depths of the chasm. He suddenly turned his head towards the sky and saw two figures slowly descend. One of them only seemed to be in 20s, and his white robes and hair ruffled in the wind. His handsome face possessed a strong resolution, while his eyes were as sharp as swords. The other person was a gray-robed, middle-aged man. His appearance was nothing special, and he was the type that would not raise any attention at all. However, even with his ordinary appearance, he still radiated with sword chi that was powerful enough to cause Lu Yun to shiver. It was to the point where Lu Yun did not feel like he was facing a man but a sword. The two of them were Jian Chen and Shen Jian. It's you. Lu Yun's face changed when he saw Jian Chen and Shen Jian. Although this was the first time he had seen the duo personally, he was completely familiar with them. The Lu family had spent quite the effort in searching for the two of them and had learnt long ago that they always remained in the Mo clan. The ancestor feared them, so he never went to settle his debt with the Mo clan. At the same time, when the mine was attacked several months before, they found out that it was Jian Chen who was responsible. Jian Chen and Shen Jian had become the greatest enemies of the Lu family long ago. They've come with hostile intent. Have they come to rob us of our divine crystals again? God damn it, why couldn't they've come a little earlier or later? They just had to choose this time. Did that old bastard Ando Fu know that they were coming so he left early? No, I have to report to the ancestor as soon as possible. It's impossible to stop the two of them without a god. Lu Yun became extremely grim. With a flip of his hand, a jade talisman that was designed for communication appeared in his hand. He was activating it. But at this moment, the surrounding temperature suddenly plummeted. Snow filled the skies. Lu Yun only saw a dazzling flash of light, and his wrist was cleaved off. Blood spurted out like a fountain. Jian Chen had appeared before Lu Yun silently with the flying snow sword. He held the jade talisman that Lu Yun was activating in his left hand. Lu Yun grunted. He stared at Jian Chen, who seemed to have teleported before him in shock. He endured the intense pain from his wrist while retreating. At the same time, his heart churned. A god. He's definitely a god. Only a god can make me so helpless. We're done for. We're done for. Lu Yun's face became filled with intense reluctance. He knew that he would struggle to protect his own wealth before a god. Even if he fought desperately, it would not change anything. Jian Chen stared at Lu Yun and said plainly, "You should be an elder of the Lu family. Seeing how all your cultivation hasn't been easy, I don't want to kill you. Hand over your space ring. You should understand what's more important between your life or your wealth. You better think it through. I'll leave the outside to you." "I'm going down the mines to have a look," said Shen Jian before disappearing in a flash. Only a few seconds later, a few surprised and miserable cries rang out from the mines. Lu Yun became even more sorrowful when he sensed the activity in the mines. He felt extremely reluctant. He had already realized that Shen Jian was collecting space rings from the people in the mines. "Take it. I hope you keep your word." Lu Yun closed his eyes. Then he removed his space ring from his finger before directly tossing it to Jian Chen. Jian Chen caught Lu Yun's space ring casually. He stared at Lu Yun deeply and smiled. "And the one on your head?" Lu Yun's face froze when he heard that. He stared at Jian Chen in complete reluctance and said nothing, obediently undoing his hair and taking out a space ring to give to Jian Chen. Jian Chen played around with the two space rings before immediately sending his soul inside to check on the items inside. Joy immediately flooded his face. Just the divine crystals within the two space rings had exceeded his harvest last time because the divine crystals were mostly mid and high grade. Very soon, Shen Jian returned from the mines and nodded towards Jian Chen. He revealed an expression of satisfaction. With a flip of his hand, the space rings Jian Chen had obtained from Lu Yun vanished. Then he left with Shen Jian. The two of them had come and left quickly. After all, the robbery of space rings was evidently much simpler than before. They basically wasted no time talking. After the two of them departed, all the miners hurried out of the mines in a panic. "Oh no! Elder Lu Yun, someone has entered the mines and stolen all our space rings. They stole all the divine crystals we've excavated after so much hard work." Chapter 1708, Movements of the Lu family. Jian Chen and Shen Jian sat on the ground in the 7th hall of the Mo clan as they sorted through what they had obtained this time. They casually threw the several hundred space rings on the ground. To one side, a large number of divine crystals had been sorted into 3 piles according to their grades. They had all formed mountainous piles, and now as dense origin energy revolved around the 3 piles, forming a thin mist. At this moment, the origin energy was so dense that there was no longer any need to absorb the divine crystals. Just sitting around the piles would allow people to cultivate at terrifying speeds. There were very few low-grade divine crystals and many mid-grade crystals. There were even quite a few high-grade divine crystals. The most eye-catching part was the head-sized high-grade divine crystal on top of one of the piles. The standard for a divine crystal was around the size of a finger, a cube that was 1 centimeter in length, width, and depth. If a fist-sized divine crystal was cut up, it would amount to several dozen or even hundreds of divine crystal at standard size. With that as a comparison, a head-sized divine crystal would be equivalent to several thousand divine crystals of standard size. Several thousand high-grade divine crystals were equivalent to several 100,000 mid-grade divine crystals and several tens of million low-grade divine crystals. Just the single head-sized divine crystal was great wealth to Jian Chen and Shen Jian. Shen Jian picked up the head-sized divine crystal and stroked it fondly. He clicked his tongue. "I never thought that we'd harvest so much this time. Just this divine crystal exceeds everything you robbed last time." Jian Chen also turned his gaze to the divine crystal. He nodded. "If you use this high-grade divine crystal to cultivate, it'll be a little too wasteful. It'll just feel like you're wasting it. In my opinion, we should exchange it for low-grade divine crystals. With our current cultivation level, low-grade divine crystals are the best for cultivation. The difference in value between each grade was 100 times more. However, that did not mean that the origin energy within a mid-grade divine crystal was 100 times denser than the origin energy within a low-grade divine crystal. In reality, it was only a few times denser, 10 times at most. It was just that the origin energy in mid-grade divine crystals was much purer, where divine crystals would become several times more expensive even if they were just slightly purer. This was why each grade was worth 100 times more than the previous one, even if the origin energy was only several times denser. There was another reason aside from that. The higher an individual's cultivation, the greater the requirement on the grade of divine crystals became. If a god king wanted to use divine crystals to cultivate, they would require high or supreme quality divine crystals at the very least. If they used mid or low grade divine crystals, there would be almost no effect. It would not even be as fast as just absorbing the origin energy in the surroundings. As a result, the higher the grade of a divine crystal, the more valuable it was. We'll keep this high-grade divine crystal for now. We can decide to use it or break it into low-grade divine crystals in the future, said Jian Chen. However, as soon as he finished speaking, he became stunned and turned around. A bald man stood there silently. He was the ancestor of the Mo clan. Mo Ling glanced past the 3 piles of divine crystals on the ground and became surprised. He clasped his fist and asked, "Brother Jian Chen, Brother Shen Jian, was the operation successful?" Jian Chen and Shen Jian obviously understood that Mo Ling was referring to whether they succeeded in taking the ancestor of the Lu family's life. The more powerful clans in the Dong'an province have already learnt about the Lu family's mine. Several gods have gathered in the Lu family right now, so we had no opportunity to do it, said Jian Chen. His voice bore some regret. Mo Ling became stern. He made his way before Jian Chen by himself and sat down on the ground like Jian Chen. He said, "It's extremely bad if several gods across the Dong'an province have gathered in the Lu family. With the Lu family's current strength, they'll definitely hand over the mine, but they'll be able to benefit quite a lot from the powerful clans. What I worry the most about is if the Lu family will get those clans to come to deal with us." Jian Chen and Shen Jian became stern as well. After a moment of silence, Mo Ling shook his head, "I might be thinking too much. What the Lu family wants the most right now is God King Duamu's jade. They can ask a powerful clan to come to deal with our Mo clan, but they'll also worry that we'll leak the news of the jade to the powerful clan. Once they learn about the God King Duanmu's jade, they might even turn against the Lu family in order to keep the matter a secret. The Lu family and the Ando clan run the risk of being devastated, so the Lu family will never take that risk. Regardless, the matter at hand is to increase our own strength as much as possible. As long as we're powerful enough, even the powerful clans of the Dong'an province won't be able to do anything to us," Jian Chen said with a deep voice. Mo Ling left very soon, while Jian Chen and Shen Jian both entered seclusion after tidying through the divine crystals. Shen Jian wanted to reach late deity as soon as possible, while Jian Chen could only continue his comprehension of the laws of the sword as he could not further his chaotic body right now. The next day, the high-grade divine crystal mine in the Dark Cloud Mountains was leaked to the outside world. It caused an uproar in the Dong'an province, while all the powerful clans in the province sent their gods to personally visit the Lu family. The Lu family felt extremely helpless towards the situation. The 6 clans that had sent representatives were only mid- or low-level clans in comparison. The mid-level clans would still maintain their basic courtesy when dealing with Lu family, basically inviting the Lu family to work with them. The high-grade crystal mine still belonged to the Lu family at that time, after all. However, as the 3 most powerful clans entered the scene, the Lu family's ownership over the high-grade divine crystal mine became completely irrelevant. The Lu family did not become angered about this. They had been expecting this outcome, so they had mentally prepared themselves long ago. After the 3 most powerful clans in the Dong'an province directly took over the mines, all the gods gathered in the Lu family returned to the provincial city as well. They went there to continue the discussions about the mine. Even when the three most powerful clans in the Dong'an province worked together, they would not be able to claim the mine for themselves because there were over a dozen other powerful clans in total. When the slightly weaker clans worked together, they would be able to pressure the three most powerful clans. After all, they could become the most powerful clans because they possessed a late god. They could not afford to offend too many gods. At the same time, the Dark Cloud Mountains was completely taken away by the Dong'an province. The three most powerful clans all sent a god to personally guard the place, while all the people from the Lu family retreated. Lu Tian sat in the patriarch's seat within the discussion hall of the Lu family. He listened to the reports of the elders. The Mo clan is getting more and more arrogant. They've come time and time again to rob our clan of our divine crystals. Do they really think they can look down on us just because they've managed to invite a god to their side? Lu Tian said coldly and furiously. Not only had the Mo clan stolen the treasure that belonged to his Lu family, but they had even robbed their excavated divine crystals several times. It had made everyone furious long ago. "Ancestor, let's do it with the Ando clan," the patriarch requested. Lu Tian sat on the patriarch's seat emotionlessly as cold killing intent wrapped around him. He said icily, "With the appearance of the high-grade divine crystal mine, the powerful clans are gradually shifting their attention towards our region. We can't delay the operation against the Mo clan any long, or I worry that the existence and information regarding the God King Duanmu's jade will be leaked. After all, our three clans are no longer locked in a stalemate. It's a perfect opportunity for us to deal with the Mo clan while the powerful clans are still arguing with each other over the mine in the provincial city and have not shifted their attention to us." Lu Tian's expression became stern. He called out, "Pass the orders to have everyone to prepare for battle. Contact the patriarch of the Ando clan to send troops to the Mo clan." Chapter 1709, Poison God Datura. With the ancestor of the Lu family's orders, the entire Lu family began to move. 7 of their 9 deities, comprised of the patriarch and the 8 elders, were mobilized. They only left behind the patriarch and the injured Lu Yun. Close to 1,000 guards and clansmen were mobilized, directly using 90% of their force. They only left behind 100 people to protect the clan. At the same time, basically all the precious treasures that the Lu family had accumulated across the years were used. They distributed various powerful formation discs, healing pills, and recovery pills among the people. The Lu family had already been preparing for quite some time for the battle against the Mo clan, so they moved extremely quickly once the orders were given. Very soon, a large group of Origin Realm cultivators was assembled under the lead of several elders. All of them were prepared, stern and radiating with killing intent. The grey-robed Lu Tian hovered in the sky at the forefront of the group. With his back towards the group, the powerful presence of a god radiated from him. It immediately caused the clouds to churn and the wind to blow. His gaze filled with killing intent was fixed towards the east. That was where the royal city of the divine kingdom of Pingtian was located. Before long, a vague figure appeared in the distant horizon. They flew over with extremely great speed. The appearance of the figure made Lu Tian reveal an indetectable smile as if victory was within his grasps. Even if the Mo clan possessed an additional god of mysterious origins, he was still confident about emerging victorious in the end in his operation to destroy the Mo clan. A few seconds later, the figure arrived before the ancestor of the Lu family. It was a young lady in a green dress. She seemed to be around 27 or 28 years old. She gave off a mature feeling, except a strange pattern on her face destroyed her beauty, making her seem rather strange. He, Lu Tian, I haven't come late, have I?" the lady giggled. She directly called Lu Tian by his name. She had no fear in doing that, clearly indicating that she was also a god. "Poison God Datura, you've come on time. Now that everyone is here, let's set off, Lu Tian said expressionlessly. With a wave of his hand, he set off with the Lu family and headed towards the Mo clan aggressively. Lu Tian, don't forget about your promise. I'll help you keep the Mo clan's recruited god busy, and once the matter is finished, I'll be taking half of the Mo clan's wealth, the lady referred to as the poison god Datura giggled. Don't worry, I'll naturally fulfill my promise, just that I can choose what I take. The remainder will all go to you, said Lu Tian. Poison god Datura giggled and glanced at Lu Tian lovingly and said with a rather coquettish voice, Lu Tian, you're so nice to me. I really don't know how to thank you. It's just a pity that you've become so old. If you were still as handsome as you were before, I might even let you go wild on my body one more time. Sigh, it's just such a pity. How did you turn out like that? Look at Mo Ling. He's so masculine. Humph, Lu Tian snorted coldly, and his face became rather sunken. Poison god Datura smiled even more resplendently when she saw Lu Tian's reaction. Her voice was filled with charm, and she said, My little Tian, do you still dwell on the past? You can't blame me. Back then, you were the one who forced yourself onto me. I didn't lure you in purposefully. Enough. Lu Tian came to a sudden halt, and he stared at poison god Datura with a sunken face. He was filled with regret in regards to what had happened in the past. If he had known that her entire body was poisonous, he would have never approached her. Ever since that incident, he had never been able to father a son again. Poison god Datura giggled. She glanced at Lu Tian teasingly before focusing on traveling. She thought, looks like Lu Tian still hasn't gotten over the matter that happened in the past. He still holds resentment for me, so the matter against the Mo clan probably won't be as simple as he described it to be. I have to be careful and not fall for Lu Tian's tricks. Several hours later, the people from the Lu family met with the people from the Ando clan. The Ando clan had also mobilized over 700 Origin Realm cultivators and 6 Godhood elders, so there were a total of 1,600 Origin Realm cultivators, 13 deities, and 3 gods who had set off to wipe out the Mo clan. A group like this could basically flatten the Mo clan. After all, the Mo clan only possessed a single person who was truly a god, Mo Ling. Lu Tian, may I ask who this is? The ancestor of the Ando clan did not recognize Datura, so he asked Lu Tian. This is poison god Datura. She's an acquaintance of mine. I've invited her to take part in the operations against the Mo clan, said Lu Tian. That's fantastic. With 3 gods and other preparations, the Mo clan is done for, Ando Fu immediately beamed with joy. At the same time, he asked Lu Tian secretly, can Datura be trusted? We can't let her know about God King Duanmu's jade. Don't worry, she won't be able to live for long. The mysterious expert invited by the Mo clan is not that easy to deal with, Lu Tian responded without any particular expression. Even now, he felt lingering fear for Jian Chen's profound sword qi. However, he also understood that even if Jian Chen's profound sword qi was some powerful technique and not a treasure, he could only use it once. Ando Fu revealed no reaction to the conversation he just had with Lu Tian on his face. After greeting Datura, he continued on his way towards the Mo clan. They stopped several 100,000 kilometers away from the Mo clan. Lu Tian took out something and immediately, a yellow banner appeared in his hand. I've only bought this treasure after paying a great price in the royal city. It can seal up the space within the range of 1,000,000 kilometers, forming a vast formation that locks up the region. Even gods will struggle to smash through it. The Mo clan will be done for with this treasure, Lu Tian sneered before raising his hand. The yellow banner immediately fused with the surrounding space, which began to ripple rapidly. This lasted for a few seconds before stopping, and in that time, the region within 1,000,000 kilometers had been completely sealed up. Not only did it prevent anyone from entering or leaving, but it even restricted regular communication techniques. In the depths of the Mo clan, Mo Ling was cultivating in seclusion to comprehend the laws of the world so that his strength could improve, and he could reach mid-god. Suddenly, Mo Ling's face changed. His eyes snapped open, and he gazed outside. He became grim and said with a heavy voice, "I never thought that the Liu family would move so quickly. I had thought they would wait for over 100 years before moving." Someone else in the clan sensed the minute changes in the surroundings aside from Mo Ling. Shenjian slowly opened his eyes from absorbing the divine crystals in the 7th hall, and behind him hovered a dark, metal sword. It thrummed by his side. Shenjian stopped cultivating and emerged from his room, arriving before the room where Jian Chen was cultivating. However, he became stunned when he approached Jian Chen's room. "You sure know how to pick times. You're actually breaking through now." Jian Chen sat in the air in his room. Resplendent light moved around in his surroundings as he radiated with surging sword intent. He had entered a state where he was no longer conscious of his surroundings. Chapter 17:10 Pressure. Enemies have arrived. Everyone listen to my command and prepare for battle. Activate the protective formations. At the same time, Mo Ling's voice rolled out thunderously through the clan. His dignified voice possessed much battle intent. It's the ancestor's voice. The ancestor has emerged. There are people attacking our Mo clan. We even have to activate the protective formations. Who is attacking our clan? Is it the Otomo's sword sect? It's the Liu family. It must be the Liu family. Since the Liu family has moved, they must be working with the Ando clan. Quick, quick. Everyone prepare for battle. First group, stand in formation. Second group, stand in formation. Third group, stand in formation. Fourth group. In the blink of an eye, the entire Mo clan fell into a commotion. All the guards and clansmen moved. They all did what they needed to do, preparing for battle as soon as possible. The protective formations of the clan had been activated as well. A huge barrier rose up and enveloped the entire clan. A few of the Origin Realm members of the upper echelon arrived at the control center of the formations with large amounts of divine crystals. They poured piles and piles of divine crystals into the foundations of the formations so that it could support their operation. 7 people hovered above the Mo clan. They all stared into the distance sternly. They were the patriarch and the 6 elders. Has the Liu family finally begun to move? We were waiting for this day. Liu family, we'll show you the power of our Mo clan. The patriarch stood in the center of the group and sneered. The Mo clan might not necessarily be able to emerge victorious over the Liu family and the Ando clan, but it would not be easy for them to crush the Mo clan either. The elders beside the patriarch were all filled with worry. They all became surprised when they heard the patriarch's words. They were all important members of the clan, so they understood the strength of the Mo clan completely. The Mo clan would naturally have no fear in taking on the Liu family alone, but they would definitely suffer defeat if the Liu family and the Ando clan worked together against them. Their clan might even be completely devastated. They had no idea where the patriarch's confidence came from. "Father, can we make it through this disaster?" Shiyu asked. She glanced past the 7th hall and uncertainty flickered through her eyes. Even though the patriarch was stern, he did not appear nervous at all. He said, won't be easy for the Liu family and the Ando clan to wipe out our Mo clan." "It won't be easy, patriarch. Do we have any other trump cards hidden?" an elder asked. He could not understand just what trump card the Mo clan still possessed no matter how he thought about it. Although he also knew about Shenjian's existence, he would never believe that Shenjian would be able to fight against gods and be able to turn the situation around. The other elders all sank into their thoughts. They were perplexed. The patriarch smiled silently. Dad, what's happening? Mo Yen flew up from below. Her face had paled slightly from fright. She was extremely nervous. The patriarch revealed much love when he saw Mo Yen. Just when he was about to say something, a burly, bare-chested, and bald-headed man suddenly appeared before him. He radiated with a pressure that was enough to cause the elders to tremble. Greetings to the ancestor. Including the patriarch and the elders, everyone in the Mo clan bowed towards the man. Even Mo Yen bowed obediently. Mo Ling arrived before Mo Yen. He was amicable, smiling warmly as he personally helped Mo Yen up. He said benevolently, "Don't be scared, Yener. The Lu family and Hte Ando clan won't be able to do anything to us even if they work together. Listen to me. Stay below obediently." "Yes, great-grandfather," Mo Yen replied. However, she was extremely curious inside. She thought, why does great-grandfather seem like a different person? He's completely different from before. At this moment, a tremendous presence appeared in the distance. The people of the Lu family and the Ando clan had hurried over. At the very front were Lu Tian, Ando Fu, and Datura, the three gods. They allowed their presences to radiate without restraint, making the clouds churn. Three gods. The elders all cried out as they became extremely grim. Ha ha ha. Mo Ling, it has been over 1,000 years since we last met. I never thought it'd be like this when we meet again. We would have never thought that it'd be like this today. The world really does change, doesn't it? Lu Tian's voice rang out from afar. It was rather cold. Mo Ling gazed at Datura, and his indifferent face finally became stern in that moment. It had indeed surprised him slightly that the Lu family and the Ando clan had actually managed to invite another god to come as well. Had the Lu family revealed the information regarding God King Duanmu's jade? Lu Tian, we meet again. A heavy voice rang out. Shen Jian appeared in the sky with his cloud-stream sword, standing beside Mo Ling. The patriarch and elders actually ended up standing behind Shen Jian. However, the elders were not in the mood to bother about these small details now that they faced three powerful enemies. Every single one of them was worried inside. Just how was the Mo clan supposed to stop three gods? Mid-deity. Your strength has increased pretty quickly. Lu Tian stared at Shen Jian and was not surprised at all. During his battle against Jian Chen before, Shen Jian had managed to disturb him a few times with his strength at peak reciprocity. He had even managed to survive after several heavy blows from him. The main reason behind all of this was Shen Jian's comprehension of laws, which was no less than Lu Tian's. It was just that his personal cultivation was too low. Otherwise, it would have been impossible for a mere reciprocity cultivator to survive the attacks of a god. Does Shen Jian and the ancestor of the Lu family know each other? The elders of the Mo clan all became surprised. You are nowhere near my opponent just with your strength at mid-deity. You should call your companion, Lu Tian said disdainfully. He looked around in search of Jian Chen as he secretly grew cautious. In the Mo clan, the person who truly made Lu Tian feel fear was not Mo Ling, but Jian Chen. However, he was unable to find Jian Chen no matter how he searched. The Mo clan was also blocked off by a formation, so he was unable to send his soul in. After all, this was a formation that could block attacks from gods. Brother Shen Jian, why is brother Jian Chen still in seclusion? Mo Ling asked Shen Jian secretly. He also began to worry inside. Jian Chen and Shen Jian were crucial in fending off the Mo clan and Lu family this time. The situation would change if even one of them was missing, especially when three gods had appeared on the opposing side. Jian Chen is going through a crucial moment of his breakthrough right now. We'll make some time for now. Once Jian Chen emerges, we'll be able to deal with everything easily, replied Shen Jian. Chapter 1711, Going into Battle. We can only drag things out with our current situation. Mo Ling gritted his teeth. He felt very pressured against three gods. With his strength, he was confident about taking on any single one of them and not suffer defeat, but he would not be able to last for very long if he had to fight two gods at the same time. However, even if he managed to keep two gods busy, there would still be one more god and the various deity elders. Although Shen Jian's comprehension of the laws of the sword had reached mid-god, far greater than any god present, his personal cultivation was just too weak after all. Mo Ling estimated that he would struggle a little in just keeping a single god busy. He would only be able to put up a proper fight if Jian Chen was present as well, as he had managed to heavily injure the ancestor of the Lu family before. Although Mo Ling had never personally witnessed Jian Chen's abilities, he could already understand just how terrifying his strength was because he managed to injure Lu Tian to the point where he had to flee without the treasure of the Lu family. Brother Shen Jian, let's not go out for now. Let's drag it out and waste as much time as we can, Mo Ling said to Shen Jian secretly within the protective formation. Shen Jian nodded. He also knew that they would not be able to hold off three gods with just Mo Ling and him. Dragging out things was the only method available to them right now. Mo Ling, will your Mo clan surrender or will you continue to put up a pointless struggle? Ando Fu asked. Mo Ling sneered, Ando Fu, Lu Tian, do you really think that the Mo clan is done for just because you two are working together and have managed to gather three gods? Everyone will suffer heavy losses in the end. The outcome might even be worse than that for you. Even worse than that? Ando Fu smiled deeply when he heard that. He said to Mo Ling, are you referring to this? A piece of jade had appeared silently in Ando Fu's hand. He held it between his fingers, showing it to Mo Ling. Mo Ling's eyes narrowed, and his expression immediately became ugly. He was familiar with the piece of jade, as he had personally handed it to clansmen and secretly arranged for him to stay in the provincial city. Aside from him and the patriarch, no one else in the Mo clan knew this person's identity. The piece of jade contained information about the god king Duanmu's jade. When he had passed the jade to the clansman, he had warned him many times that he could only remove the restrictions on it if the Mo clan was destroyed. He would make the information in there go public so that the entire Dong'an province would learn about God King Duanmu's jade. Mo Ling had prepared such measures in the past to prevent the Lu family and the Ando clan from truly banding together against the Mo clan. If that really did happen, he could use it to strike worry and fear into the hearts of the Lu family and the Ando clan. Even if the Mo clan suffered the worst possible outcome, the Lu family and the Ando clan would not be able to benefit from it at all. Instead, they would have to lose their god king Duanmu's jade or even have their clans destroyed. Yet now, the piece of jade had actually appeared in Ando Fu's hands. That would mean the person Mo Ling had sent to the provincial city had met his end. Mo Ling, will you give up now? Let me ask you one last time. Are you going to surrender or put up a pointless struggle? If you surrender, I will spare you, sneered Lu Tian. You're dreaming if you think our Mo clan will surrender, Mo Ling said with a gruff voice. Now that his clan possessed Jian Chen and Shen Jian, he became a little more confident. Lu Tian's gaze turned cold. He gave an order without any hesitation, do it. With the order, the 7 deities from the Lu family and all the Origin realm experts behind them struck out at the same time. Origin energy immediately surged as 900 attacks landed on the Mo clan's barrier simultaneously. Do it. At the same time, Ando Fu gave his orders as well. His elders and Origin realm experts struck out at the same time as well, and they basically hit the barrier at the same time as the attacks from the Lu family. Boom! Attacks from over a dozen deities and over 1,000 Origin realm cultivators was terrifying. When it struck the barrier of the Mo clan, a deafening sound immediately erupted. Ripples of Origin energy spread out in the surroundings with various attributes, dyeing the world with various colors. However, the protective barrier of the Mo clan was extraordinary as well. It was extremely powerful, so the simultaneous attacks from more than 10 deities and over 1,000 origin realm cultivators only made the barrier tremble and dull slightly. Mo Ling, I'd like to see how many divine crystals your Mo clan has to support the barrier. Lu Tian hovered in the air leisurely. He stared below with a sneer. The gods on his side did not move. All the cultivators from the Lu family and the Ando clan did not stand around idly. They constantly barraged the Mo clan's formation with attacks. There were even a few origin realm cultivators among the two clans who stood in formation. They poured the strength of several dozen or even over 100 people together to erupt with the might of godhood. The deafening sounds constantly rang out as the Mo clan's barrier shook more and more. The barrier flickered. Quick, quick, pour the divine crystals into the foundation of the formation. The members of the upper echelon who normally managed the affairs of the clan called out in a panic, ordering groups of guards to provide energy to the formation. At the same time, on the peak of a mountain shrouded in mist within the Automo's sword sect, the sect master stood there politely. Before him was a white-robed, middle-aged man. He had his back towards the sect master as he gazed at the sea of clouds before him. Ancestor, the Lu family and the Ando clan have already moved against the Mo clan. I plead the ancestor to take part and make the Mo clan pay for their previous actions, the sect master said politely. You want the Automo's sword sect to go war against the Mo clan just because of your disappointment of a son. Do you think it's worth it? The middle-aged man asked the sect master without even turning back. His voice was indifferent, without any particular emotion at all. Ancestor, the Mo clan has gone too far. When elders Mo Shan and Mo Yun took Fanner with them in their visit to the Mo clan before, both Mo Yun and Fanner lost an arm in the end. That's basically a naked provocation to our sect, a slap to our face. If we don't take revenge, would we still have any dignity? The sect master said. I've spoken with the two elders, and I've learnt the entire story. Wasn't everything caused by your disappointment of a son? The middle-aged man said steadily. The sect master's face changed slightly. He said with reluctance, Ancestor, are we supposed to just let this matter be? The middle-aged man shook his head and sighed gently, you are so ignorant. I really do regret passing the position of sect master to you slightly. If you continue like this, the entire sect is probably going to be destroyed in your hands. The sect master was surprised. He immediately knelt in fear and said politely, please do not be angry, Ancestor. Please calm down. It was me who did not think through everything. I did not realize what everything would result in. It's best if we don't offend the Mo clan then. Although they don't seem any greater than our sect, they've existed for much longer. Sigh, the middle-aged man let out a breath of disappointment. He turned towards the sect master and said, you've still failed to understand what I'm trying to say. We will not be waging war against the Mo clan. The middle-aged man paused there. His gaze became deep, and he continued, however, the Mo clan severed Elder Mo Yun's arm after all. If we don't make an appropriate response to that, our status will plummet. We won't be interfering with the battle between the Mo clan, Ando clan, and Lu family, but we will devote all our strength into killing the people of the Mo clan once they suffer defeat. If the Lu family and Ando clan are unable to devastate the Mo clan even when they're working together, we'll just let the matter of Elder Mo Yun's severed arm be. We won't mention it again. Chapter 1712, God's step in booms rang out in the Mo clan, and it was to the point where even the surroundings changed in color. The ferocious shockwaves of battle had littered the ground within several tens of thousand kilometers with web-like cracks. If it were not for the fact that everything in the Saints' world was extraordinarily tough, a single ripple would have easily destroyed an entire planet. The Lu family and the Ando clan attacked non-stop for an entire day and night. The Mo clan had exhausted a large number of divine crystals as well to maintain their formation. "We probably don't have enough divine crystals to last much longer," the patriarch said sternly while hovering in the air. The 6 elders of the clan all became stern too. They had clearly realized this problem as well. "Father, I still have over 10,000 low-grade divine crystals on me. If there isn't enough, you can use them to keep up the formation," Xiu said. She was the first to offer up all her divine crystals. "I still have a few thousand on me, I also have over 10,000, I have 30,000. After Xiu, the other elders all took out all the divine crystals they possessed. As elders of the Mo clan, they received quite a large amount of divine crystals during every interval, but they would use the divine crystals to cultivate. Coupled with a few other expenses, all of them only had a minimal amount left. There was even an elder with only several hundred low-grade divine crystals, which was quite a sorry sight. Shen Jian hesitated slightly before also passing a space ring to the patriarch. He said, "I have close to 1,000,000 divine crystals here, with many at mid or high grade. Please use these for your formation." Most of the divine crystals came from the Lu family's mine, while a tiny portion of them was originally gifted to Shen Jian by the Mo clan. They were left over after Shen Jian had broken through. Shen Jian had taken out close to 1,000,000 divine crystals, with mid and high-grade ones within. His wealth had stunned all the elders. They all stared at Shen Jian in disbelief. Since when did Shen Jian become so wealthy? Even their Mo clan did not possess high-grade divine crystals. The patriarch's eyes lit up. He did not try to turn down Shen Jian, he simply accepted the space ring and personally replenished the divine crystals in the foundation of the formation. Lu Tian hovered outside the formation as he stared coldly at the Mo clan. If the 3 gods struck out together, they would be able to smash through the formation with just a little effort, but they were unwilling to spend energy like that. They were all building up energy, silently adjusting themselves so that they were at their peak condition at all times. As soon as the barrier shattered, they would launch a barrage of attacks. However, when Lu Tian saw that most of the divine crystals from the Patriarch's space ring were mid or even high grade, his face immediately paled. Killing intent rose up from his chest, and he could not help but bellow out in the end. He began to attack the barrier. All the mid and high-grade divine crystals belonged to his Lu family, yet the Mo clan was actually using them to maintain their formations. Lu Tian was absolutely furious at the sight of this. Flames roared around Lu Tian, dyeing the world red. He erupted with a surging presence while wielding a fire-red sword, directly cleaving the barrier. With a boom, the barrier over the Mo clan almost collapsed directly from the strike. The barrier quickly faded in color while a large number of divine crystals were drained of all their origin energy in just a few seconds, reduced to powder. "Quick, add in the divine crystals." With the call, guards immediately went forth to replenish the supply of divine crystals. "Ando Fu, poison god Datura, let's do it together and wipe out the Mo clan as soon as possible. I don't want the Mo clan to exist for even a day longer in this world," Lu Tian said coldly. He hated the Mo clan dearly. If that person called Jian Chen didn't attack the Dark Cloud Mountains, would the appearance of high-grade divine crystals be leaked so quickly? With our Lu family's strength, we would be able to keep the news a secret for several years, or even longer. Ando Fu and Datura looked at each other and no longer stood by. They immediately started to attack the barrier of the Mo clan together. Datura's weapon was a green staff. It shone with a strange, green light, filled with toxicity. She gently extended her staff and the weapon rapidly expanded, slamming into the barrier as a huge log that was several dozen meters in diameter. Ando Fu also struck out with his hand, forming a huge palm of several hundred meters across that slammed into the barrier. Lu Tian also launched a second attack. The flames of his sword surged as his present sword, slashing at the barrier again. The activity from the attacks of 3 gods was simply shocking. It made all the elders in the Mo clan feel like they were suffocating. They felt like they could not put up a fight at all. This is the might of gods. Before gods, deities are as insignificant as ants. The elders all paled slightly, and they all felt bitter inside. With the simultaneous attacks of 3 gods, the barrier of the Mo clan could no longer last much longer. Lu Tian, let me try you, Shen Jian said at this moment. He was expressionless as he radiated with surging sword intent. He directly stepped out of the barrier with the cloud stream sword. Shen Jian, you must not, brother Shen Jian, come back. You're not a god's opponent, Shen Jian, come back. The expressions of the elders of the Mo clan all changed when they saw that Shen Jian actually wanted to leave the barrier and fight Lu Tian. They all cried out in surprise. Shen Jian's sturdy body stood outside the barrier. His hair ruffled despite the absence of any wind, while the image of a flaming sword rapidly approaching him was clearly reflected in his eyes. However, he showed no fear. Instead, he boiled with battle intent as he called out, "Swordbreaker." The cloud stream sword immediately stabbed out with a resplendent glow. He's done for. Shen Jian is done for. He has such great talent, yet he has to pass away here. It's just such a pity. Shen Jian, your talent is very great. Not even late deities may be able to defeat you, but you're facing a god after all. How can you be his opponent with your strength at mid-deity? The elders were all filled with regret as they felt remorse for Shen Jian. No one believed he was Lu Tian's opponent. After all, one of them was a deity, while the other was a god. There was an enormous disparity between the two. The cloud stream sword finally collided with Lu Tian's sword with a bright glow. There was the screeching of metal, and Lu Tian's sword immediately erupted with a fire that contained the laws of fire. The surrounding temperature immediately skyrocketed, and the violent flames swallowed Shen Jian. Sigh, these are a god's laws, and in particular, the laws of fire, which are one of the most offensive laws out there. Shen Jian's probably going to be reduced to nothingness. The elders of the Mo clan all shook their heads. Chapter 1713, Shen Jian's strength. However, the elders of the Mo clan had failed to notice the patriarch's reaction. The patriarch also watched Lu Tian's flames swallow up Shen Jian, but he showed no signs of regrets at all. Instead, he watched the terrifying, roaring flames eagerly. He thought, although Shen Jian's cultivation is only at mid-deity, his comprehension of the laws of the sword has already reached mid-god. It's even greater than Lu Tian's, so I wonder if he can stop Lu Tian or not. The patriarch was not completely certain whether Shen Jian possessed the power to fight a god or not either. At this moment, a dazzling white light exploded from within the flames that had swallowed Shen Jian. With the appearance of the light, the flames immediately began to shake violently, tremble violently. The white light shone brighter and brighter before becoming extremely sharp, piercing through all of the flames with a powerful sword intent. The flames contained laws of fire that were at the level of gods, so they were extremely powerful. Even late deities would suffer certain death if this fire swallowed them up, and they would be unable to avoid the fate of being burnt to a crisp. However, the dazzling white light had split the flames in half. The elders discovered the white light in the flames as soon as it appeared. Their eyes all narrowed as they became fixated. The white light is sword qi. It's an extremely powerful sword qi. Is it Shen Jian's sword qi? Shen Jian hasn't been burnt to a crisp. That's impossible. Shen Jian is clearly a mid-deity, so it's impossible for him to survive. The elders all cried out as they revealed expressions of disbelief. Shiyu also stared at the white light that split the flames apart. The light in her eyes wavered as she thought, so father's confidence comes from him. I never thought that Shen Jian would be so powerful. the flames gradually subsided while Shunjian's figure had already vanished. There was only a ball of white light, radiating with surging sword intent against Lu Tian. A hazy figure was barely visible through the white light. Lu Tian's face sank. He stared at the figure bathed in light and said coldly, "I sure have underestimated you. Shunjian, your cultivation is limited, but your comprehension of the laws of the world has already surpassed mine. You really do possess the right to fight me." The elders of the Mo clan immediately became stunned when they heard that. They all stared at the ball of light in disbelief as their hearts churned. Shunjian had clearly only reached godhood recently, yet his comprehension of the laws of the world had already surpassed Lu Tian's. This was just far too unbelievable. They had already spent so many years to reach godhood. Basically, everyone would be stuck at peak reciprocity by the laws of the world before they broke through, assuming they ever did break through. Any progress for minor cultivation realms would require the accumulation of comprehension over many years. Some people would not even be able to break through once they reached a certain cultivation for the rest of their lives, so they understood extremely well just how difficult it was to make any progress with one's comprehension of laws. However, Shunjian's comprehensions of laws had surpassed Lu Tian's, a god, while he was at mid-deity. All of them felt envious of such talent. With a boom, Mo Ling appeared outside the barrier as well. He stopped Ando Fu and Datura's attacks by himself. "Brother Shunjian, I'll leave Lu Tian to you for now," Mo Ling called out. His presence surged as he charged towards Ando Fu and Datura without any fear. He fought against the two of them all by himself. Deafening booms constantly rang out as violet shockwaves wreaked havoc in the surroundings. The battle involving Lu Tian, Ando Fu, and Datura had made even the world pale in comparison. Mo Ling used his full strength. He shone with dazzling golden light as he wore quite an impressive armor of light. He wielded a huge sword that he swung towards Ando Fu and Datura. The laws he had comprehended were the laws of metal among the 5 elements. Ando Fu did not hold back either. He wielded a fencing sword that was only a finger wide. He turned into a wisp of wind as he moved around Mo Ling, moving extremely quickly. The sword in his hand turned into various blurs as well as it stabbed towards Mo Ling with unbelievable speed. Ando Fu had comprehended the laws of wind. The laws of wind possessed an absolute advantage in terms of speed. There was rarely anyone who could rival people who comprehended the laws of wind in terms of speed, and it was rare for anyone who possessed equal strength to catch up to them if they fled. However, the laws of wind also possessed a weakness, which was weaker attacks. Although poison god Datura was also fighting Mo Ling, she was the only god who did not use her full strength. Every time she struck out, there would be a large commotion, but basically nothing in strength. She only dealt with the attacks coming her way and did not do anything else. However, even with that being the case, she and Ando Fu still managed to keep Mo Ling suppressed so that he could only defend. He had completely lost the upper hand, unable to counterattack at all. There should still be one person in the Mo clan who hasn't appeared, seeing how fearful Lu Tian is of him. He must be extremely powerful. I have to be careful so that I don't fall for Lu Tian's ruse. Although half of the Mo clan's wealth is extremely shocking, it's not enough for me to go all out, thought Datura. Her eyes flickered with uncertainty as she observed the surroundings cautiously at all times. On the other side, Shunjian and Lu Tian fought intensely as well. Lights flickered, and sword chi surged about. Both of them used their full strength in an attempt to kill each other as quickly as possible, so their battle became extraordinarily intense. Back when he was at the peak of reciprocity, he still could not fight back against Lu Tian even when his comprehension of laws had reached mid-god. Now that he had become a mid-deity, he was able to put up a fight with his comprehension of his laws of the sword and his powerful techniques despite his weaker cultivation. Presence breaker. Shunjian called out. His eyes were extremely sharp as he stabbed out with lightning speed. At the same time, Lu Tian stabbed towards Shen Jian as his sword roared with flames. When it struck Shen Jian's protective glow, the laws of fire on the sword immediately dispersed. Lu Tian was not as great as Shen Jian in terms of laws. However, the sword also possessed Lu Tian's strength as an early god. Shen Jian's protective glow became extremely weak after stopping the laws of fire, so the light shattered in the face of the sword's power. Spurt. Lu Tian's sword stabbed into Shen Jian's chest. The terrifying heat in the sword immediately melted a gaping hole in Shen Jian's body. At the same time, Shen Jian's sword landed on Lu Tian. It only managed to penetrate an inch deep before being forcefully stopped by Lu Tian's laws of fire and power of cultivation, which prevented his sword from advancing any further. However, Lu Tian's face suddenly changed as the presence of his entire body became rather messy. His wound from the attack was clearly nothing severe, yet the Cloudstream sword possessed a mysterious power that actually made a quarter of his origin energy vanish in a single moment. What is this strange technique? Lu Tian's face changed in surprise. He immediately shot backwards as he experienced shock inside. The strike had made a quarter of all his origin energy disappear. If he took another 3 such attacks, would that not mean all his origin energy would vanish? How would he still fight once he lost all his origin energy? Chapter 17:14, Jian Chen steps in. No, my origin energy hasn't vanished. It has been sealed up by a mysterious power. What is this power? It actually possesses such a mysterious might. A mere mid-deity can actually seal up the origin energy of a powerful god, thought Lu Tian. The mysterious power hidden within his dantian was extremely strange. He had never seen something like this even after living for so long. As long as the origin energy hasn't vanished for no reason, then it's fine. Otherwise, it would just be far too terrifying. It's much easier to deal with a seal. Lu Tian was relieved at the same time. When he discovered that his origin energy had suddenly vanished, he had leapt in fright. Formbreaker. Shen Jian became rather pale, but his battle intent remained just as great. He took the initiative and charged towards Lu Tian. His presence surged as he turned into a streak of light. Humph, Shen Jian, I'll let you witness my true strength, Lu Tian said coldly. Extending a finger towards the sky, laws of fire immediately began to condense from the surroundings. It formed a raging sea of fire above his head instantly. Fire cloud meteor. Lu Tian called out, and the sea of fire surged above his head. In the end, it condensed into 5 head-sized fireballs. Each ball of fire contained surging power as they radiated with terrifying pressure. Swish! In the next moment, one of the 5 fireballs shot off like a comet with a tail towards Shen Jian as it pulsed with energy. Shen Jian showed no fear as his Cloudstream sword shot towards the fireball as if it was unstoppable. Boom! The fireball immediately exploded as the violent flames dyed the sky red. The terrifying heat permeated the surroundings, scorching the ground while the barrier around the Mo clan in the distance shook heavily. Lu Tian has actually used a battle skill. Shen Jian is so powerful he actually forced Lu Tian to use a battle skill. What power? That's a 4th grade truth tier battle skill at the very least, the elders of the Mo clan all cried out, while the patriarch stared at Shen Jian nervously. He was fraught with worry. Blood spurted from Shen Jian's mouth as he was blown away like a cannonball. His clothes were turned to ashes silently. Shen Jian, you possess the right to fight me, but it's only the right. If I exert my full strength, killing you will still be a piece of cake. 4 balls of fire burned above Lu Tian. Each fireball radiated with immense power. However, you should be able to die without regrets for forcing me into using a battle skill, Lu Tian said coldly. He extended a finger toward Shen Jian in the distance, and two of the fireballs above him immediately whistled away. Shen Jian became extremely grim as he faced the two incoming fireballs. It was a battle skill a god cast, so he would be doomed if he was even slightly carelessness. Suddenly, Shen Jian's cloud stream sword began to tremble violently. He called out, "A will that splits the heavens, the sword shakes and stars shatter." With that, the cloud stream sword emitted several pulses, which stacked together and expanded towards the two incoming fireballs. Wherever the pulse passed by, all the origin energy in the area would begin to disperse, actually directly reduced to nothingness by the pulse. When the pulse and the fireballs collapsed, the fireballs immediately slowed down. The pulse struck the fireballs, and they trembled as the laws of fire inside rapidly weakened. However, the two fireballs still managed to charge beyond the pulse in the end and collided with Shen Jian. However, the fireballs did become much weaker after the obstruction of the pulse. The fireballs struck Shen Jian firmly, exploding loudly and brightly. Shen Jian spat out another mouthful of blood as he was blown away once again. All his organs had disintegrated, while his skin had been charred black. He was heavily injured. If it were not for his technique that weakened the two fireballs, he probably would have passed away from the attack even with his mid-god comprehension of laws and his protective layer of light. Ultimately, he was only a mid-deity. After all, this was a battle skill a god employed, and it was of quite a high grade. It was at the 4th grade of the truth tier at the very least, so its power was obviously terrifying. You're actually still not dead? However, you'll die soon anyway. Shen Jian, no one can save you today, Lu Tian said coldly. He radiated with heavy killing intent as the two last fireballs whistled off as well, flying towards Shen Jian mercilessly. Mo Ling roared out from afar. He wanted to try to save Shen Jian, but his two opponents had him firmly trapped. He was unable to break free. The elders in the Mo clan all panicked, but they were helpless against the attack as well. They would probably be burnt to a crisp before they could even approach the fireballs. Shen Jian gritted his teeth as determination flooded his eyes. The first move of A will that splits the heavens was not enough to stop Lu Tian's battle skill, but that was not the only move he knew. He also knew the second move. However, it was just too powerful. Despite reaching mid-deity, he still had not mastered it. If the first move's power was equivalent to a star, then the second move was equivalent to an entire galaxy. He would have to pay an extremely heavy price to use the second move. At this point, he had already run out of options in the face of Lu Tian's battle skill. He could only use the second move, the sword extends and galaxies extinguish. However, just when Shen Jian was prepared to use this move, the surrounding temperature plummeted. In the blink of an eye, it went from something akin to a land of lava to a cavern of ice. Snow filled the skies. It's the flying snow sword. The patriarch's face lit up. He suddenly turned towards the 7th hall. Just when the patriarch looked over, a flash of light quickly shot out at an unbelievable speed. It shot through the barrier of the Mo clan and headed towards the two fireballs with a seemingly unstoppable force. So quick. The patriarch shivered inside. Even with his strength, he failed to catch a glimpse of the light clearly. He only managed to capture a blurry image of a sword within the light with his soul. It was the same sword that he had bought from Maple Leaf City, which he had then gifted to Jianchen. Boom! The flying snow sword directly stabbed through the two fireballs and the fireballs exploded in the sky brightly. Terrifying ripples of energy permeated the surroundings, where even early deities would become heavily injured if they entered the region without any protective treasures. The flying snow sword continued onwards without weakening at all. It was enveloped by laws of the sword that far exceeded the level of early god, directly ignoring the terror of the Sea of Flames and arriving before Lu Tian in a single moment. Lu Tian's face changed drastically, and he immediately shot backwards to dodge. However, even after using his full strength, he was still too late. The flying snow sword had swept past his shoulder and left behind a smear of blood. Lu Tian felt a heart-wrenching pain from his left arm, and the entire limb fell out of the sky. It had been separated from his body. Lu Tian was extremely shocked. He had not even seen his opponent. Just a single sword had come flying over, smashing through his battle skill and claiming his arm. Just what kind of power did its owner possess? Chapter 17:15, Crushing Lu Tian. On the other side, Ando Fu and poison god Datura became greatly shocked as well when they saw how Lu Tian had lost his left arm from a single clash. They became astounded and immediately stopped bothering with Mo Ling, immediately guarding against the mysterious expert that possessed shocking strength. Ha, brother Jian Chen, I'll leave Lu Tian to you. I'll keep these two busy. Come to help me after you kill Lu Tian, Mo Ling chucked aloud while blood still flowed from the corner of his mouth. He ignored his wounds, sticking to Datura and Ando Fu closely. Ando Fu's face became sunken. He used his full strength in an attempt to break free from Mo Ling. However, he felt bitter inside. Previously, he and Datura had kept Mo Ling busy to prevent him from helping Lu Tian so that they could earn precious time for Lu Tian to kill Shen Jian. However, in the blink of an eye, the situation had been completely reversed. Originally, they kept Mo Ling busy, but now, Mo Ling was keeping them busy. Datura's face became sunken as well. The light in her eyes flickered with uncertainty as she began to contemplate retreat. Mo Ling's bountiful promise had persuaded her, which was why she agreed to assist Lu Tian against the Mo clan. From Lu Tian, she had also learnt that there was another mysterious expert that was akin to a god in the Mo clan. Aside from Mo Ling, Lu Tian and Ando Fu would deal with Mo Ling, while she would deal with the mysterious expert. Datura originally believed that with the combined force of three gods, there would be no pressure in dealing with the Mo clan. Even if the Mo clan possessed two gods, they could only face defeat, and she would be able to obtain half of the Mo clan's wealth easily. That was why she had agreed. However, she could clearly sense that the Mo clan was probably extremely different to what it seemed along the way. As a result, she always remained on guard, afraid of falling for Lu Tian's tricks. In particular, when they began fighting, it was different from what they had initially agreed on. Lu Tian engaged the mysterious expert she was supposed to fight, while she and Ando Fu fought Mo Ling. She had sensed that something was wrong when that happened, which was why she never used her full strength. She fought Mo Ling with complete reluctance. However, now that Lu Tian had lost his arm to a single strike, combined with Mo Ling's cry, she suddenly understood everything. As it turned out, the mysterious expert she was supposed to fight was not Shen Jian but the shockingly powerful Jian Chen. I see, Lu Tian. You really did have ill intentions and actually schemed against me. Looks like you're still hung up about the matters of the past. You're not confident enough to personally deal with me, so you want to deal with me through someone else. Ha, Lu Tian, but why do I feel that the mysterious expert you mentioned is far greater than what you described him to be? Even you probably don't know how powerful that person is from your expression, Datura sneered inside while her eyes became as icy as a viper's. A white-robed young man steadily flew out from the 7th hall in the Mo clan. Under the stunned gazes of all the elders, he slowly made his way through the barrier. He wielded the flying snow sword that had cut off Lu Tian's arm in his hands. What is happening? How is Jian Chen so powerful? Wasn't Jian Chen at the Origin Realm? How did he become so powerful in the blink of an eye? He took Lu Tian's arm with a single strike. Oh my god, Lu Tian's a god after all. Jian Chen can heavily injure gods so easily. The elders of the Mo clan all stared at Jian Chen with widened eyes. At that moment, they even struggled to believe the sight before them. Jian Chen had never garnered any attention from them in the clan. The elders had never even properly looked at Jian Chen. If it were not for Shen Jian's existence, they probably might have even forgotten that a person called Jian Chen existed in their Mo clan. However, they had never thought that it would be this same Jian Chen that actually possessed such terrifying strength. Lu Tian also stared at Jian Chen in shock. His face was filled with disbelief. According to what he understood, Jian Chen was nowhere near as powerful as this. Lu Tian, I let you escape last time. I'd like to see how you escape this time. Jian Chen stared at Lu Tian coldly. His voice was icy cold and filled with heavy killing intent. Ando Fu, you keep Mo Ling busy. Datura, let's handle him together, Lu Tian called out to Datura in the distance. Lu Tian, no one can save you today, Jian Chen said coldly. Wielding the flying snow sword, he directly stabbed towards Lu Tian. The attack was simple and ordinary, without any special tricks. However, when he stabbed out, the attack seemed to hide the endless mysteries of the world inside, where the entire world seemed to lose its color before the strike, making it the only existence in the surroundings. This was the power of the laws of the sword. Jian Chen's current laws of the sword were no longer at the major achievement of sword origin. Instead, they were at great perfection. The major achievement of sword origin was equivalent to mid-god, while Jian Chen's breakthrough in his comprehensions had elevated his laws to late god. Lu Tian became extremely grim. Origin energy surged out wildly from his body, mixing with the laws of fire. He poured all the power he could use right now into his sword, causing it to immediately flare up. He swung out as hard as he could to receive Jian Chen's attack. Ding! The two swords collided and immediately produced a screeching of metal. The flying snow sword immediately began to shine brightly, exploding with surging sword chi. The sword chi directly dispersed Lu Tian's laws of fire. Even his god-level origin energy rapidly dispersed before the laws of the sword. The flying snow sword knocked Lu Tian's sword out of his hand before continuing without weakening at all, driving straight into Lu Tian's chest. Spurt. Lu Tian vomited blood as he became extremely pale. He retreated in a horrible shape. However, as he retreated, his hands constantly formed seals before he bellowed out, blazing the heavens. The laws of fire in the surroundings rapidly condensed. At that moment, a sea of fire filled the entire sky, turning the surroundings into a world of fire. The temperature skyrocketed rapidly. At that moment, the entire world seemed to become filled with fire. It scorched the space until it distorted as if it became a formation that trapped Jian Chen to slaughter him. Jian Chen kept his cool and remained composed. He swept his flying snow sword through space, immediately making it explode with light. It shot through the air with lightning speed as a streak of light. Rumble. Dazzling sword chi weaved between the flames, producing a thunder-like boom. The sea of fire began to disperse. A single blow from Jian Chen had destroyed Lu Tian's battle skill. Impossible, this is impossible. You weren't my opponent a few months ago. It's impossible for your strength to increase so much in such a short amount of time, Lu Tian roared out. Jian Chen had become so powerful that he was no longer his opponent. Lu Tian could not accept this. Chapter 1716, Lu Tian's death on the other side. Ando Fu also swore to himself secretly, didn't Lu Tian say that this person could only put up a fight against a god barely? How is he so powerful? How is that barely? That's complete domination. This person is so powerful that he even managed to break through Lu Tian's truth-tier battle skill so easily. Seeing how leisurely he did it, even if the three of us work together, we won't be his opponent, let alone the fact that there's still Mo Ling as well. Lu Tian, you've screwed me over, thought poison god Datura. At that moment, her hatred for Lu Tian had reached a point of no return. Opposite to the two of them, Mo Ling chuckled happily instead. He was extremely excited and at ease. Around a dozen banners had appeared in Lu Tian's hand. Gritting his teeth, he tossed them towards Jian Chen. Each formation banner radiated with powerful pulses of energy, quickly falling into formation around Jian Chen. Lu Tian's heart ached when he threw out the banners. He had purchased them from the royal city, and they were enough to trap and kill early gods with ease. They would even pose a certain degree of threat to mid-gods. He had originally bought them to deal with Mo Ling, but he never thought he would be forced to use them on Jian Chen. The space before Jian Chen suddenly changed and the familiar surroundings disappeared silently. The chaotic formation space replaced it, filled with terrifying killing intent. The way of slaughter? A thought crossed Jian Chen's head. He was not unfamiliar with this presence. He had sensed it from the white tiger before. It was the way of slaughter that the white tiger had grasped at the origin realm. Suddenly, strands of qi appeared in the surroundings, condensing into force of slaughter. They chopped towards Jian Chen with an icy-cold killing intent, moving extremely quickly. The formation space would ripple wherever they passed by. The person who created this set of formation banners should have comprehended the way of slaughter as well, except the formation is a little weak. It's more than enough to deal with early gods, but it can't pose much of a threat to me, Jian Chen murmured. He made his way through the formation space calmly as he raised the flying snow sword high above his head. Laws of the sword surged and condensed, forming a 300-meter-long ray of light, which he then cleaved forwards with. The attack was extremely powerful, and it was basically enough to even cleave the sky in half. As he swung out, the entire formation space trembled violently while the force of slaughter that surged towards Jian Chen was completely dispersed as the sword qi swept past. Crack! 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 At the same time, the formation space produced a collapsing sound. The dozen or so formation banners had all become covered in cracks. Before long, they were all reduced to dust. A single strike had destroyed the formation that could slay early gods. After reaching the great perfection of the laws of the sword, my sky-severing strike has become drastically more powerful as well. Although the sword technique is not of a high grade, I just happen to be able to use the full power of this sword technique with my current comprehension of the way of the sword. However, once I reach sword spirit, the sword technique definitely won't be that helpful to me anymore, thought Jian Chen. He wielded the flying snow sword high in the air as his white clothes ruffled. He radiated with a certain sharpness. Currently, he no longer seemed ordinary. Instead, he seemed like a drawn, divine sword. Especially when everyone saw how indomitable he seemed, it became a form of deterrence, filling everyone's gaze towards him with fear, dread, admiration, and so on. Lu Tian's expression became extremely ugly. With a wave of his hand, he threw out another set of formation banners, creating a killing formation to kill Jian Chen. He had also bought this formation from the royal city for a great price. Originally, he planned to use it against Ando Fu after they destroyed the Mo clan. Soon afterwards, a palm-sized, grey dagger appeared in Lu Tian's hand. With a thought, the grey dagger immediately pulsed with destructive energy, shooting into the formation as a streak of blackness. The grey dagger was worth more than the two sets of formations because it was a consumable treasure that could unleash the full-powered attack of a mid-god. It also possessed one of the most offensive laws among the 3,000 laws, the laws of destruction. If the dagger was used correctly, it could kill an early god with a single strike. He had also prepared it for Ando Fu originally, but he ended up using everything he had prepared against Jian Chen instead before they had even destroyed the Mo clan. After using all his trump cards, Lu Tian stared nervously at Jian Chen who was trapped in the formation. He really was prepared in this operation against the Mo clan. He had purchased 2 formations from the royal city, where any one of them could claim the life of an early god. He had even bought a dagger with the laws of destruction, which was even deadlier. Even Lu Tian himself had no confidence in guarding against the dagger if it was used against him. He had not even prepared all these trump cards for the Mo clan but just to kill Ando Fu. However, he had never thought that Jian Chen would actually be so powerful, completely destroying his plans. Ando Fu secretly nodded to himself as he saw how Lu Tian had prepared so many trump cards to destroy the Mo clan. He thought to himself, Lu Tian really does think through his actions. I thought he would only prepare a single trump card, but he has prepared 3 instead. He really is willing to pay the price to destroy the Mo clan. If it were not for an unaccounted variable like Jian Chen, the Mo clan really would have been destroyed. Boom! Suddenly, a rumble rang out and the second formation used against Jian Chen shattered as well. Jian Chen emerged as he basked in a bright layer of light, appearing unscathed before everyone. The presence from the laws of destruction dispersed around him. Lu Tian's heart immediately sank. Jian Chen was just too powerful. Lu Tian had used all his trump cards, yet he struggled to harm him at all. Lu Tian was heavily injured right now, so he was even less of an opponent. Swish! With a flash of light, Jian Chen's flying snow sword was swung out with a flash. It struck Lu Tian's waist, bisecting him mercilessly. Lu Tian groaned and immediately turned around. He grabbed the lower half of his body as he fled quickly. At the same time, he shoved various pills into his mouth. However, Datura suddenly appeared before Lu Tian. She called out coldly, Lu Tian, how dare you try to kill me? Even if I die here today, I'll take your life with my own hands. With that, the wooden staff in her hands stabbed towards Lu Tian's head. Spurt! Lu Tian's head was immediately penetrated. Vicious poison began to spread, melting his head into a bloody mess in the blink of an eye. However, Lu Tian did not die because of that. His soul had managed to escape, but it was contaminated with a sliver of green poison. Datura, you bitch! Lu Tian's soul bellowed out furiously as hatred filled his eyes. Under the corrosion of the poison, his soul rapidly dispersed. Humph, you can't blame me. You can only blame the fact that you had ill intentions. You wanted to eliminate me, so why would I go easy on you? Do you really think I fear you? Datura said coldly. Bitch, I curse you to die a horrible death. Lu Tian's soul bellowed out angrily and with great unwillingness before directly dispersing in the surroundings. Jian Chen watched on coldly from the side. He did not stop Datura from killing Lu Tian. He did not bear any intense hatred towards Lu Tian. Lu Tian only needed to die to protect the secret of the twin swords. It did not matter who killed him. Senior, I only came here after Lu Tian tricked me. I have no intentions of disrespecting Senior. I hope Senior can be the bigger person and spare me. Datura clasped her fist towards Jian Chen after killing Lu Tian. However, before Jian Chen replied, she turned around and fled, leaving as quickly as she could. She did not dare to take Lu Tian's space ring, leaving it where it was. In her eyes, if Jian Chen did not want to kill her, he would not chase her either. If he did want to kill her, she would flee for a little first. Once Jian Chen really began to pursue her, she would have plenty of time to use a life-protecting skill and pay a certain price to leave the place. After all, she was not Lu Tian. Lu Tian had already become spent, unable to flee before Jian Chen even if he wanted to. On the other hand, she was still at her peak condition. Ando Fu did not dare to stay any longer either when he saw Datura flee. He turned into a wisp of wind and fled as quickly as he could. He was much faster than Datura. Brother Jian Chen, we can't allow Ando Fu to escape. Mo Ling could not catch up, so he could only ask Jian Chen for help. Ando Fu had comprehended the laws of wind, so there were barely any people with similar cultivation levels who could catch up to him if he fled for his life. Jian Chen's gaze turned cold. Even without Mo Ling's reminder, he would not allow Ando Fu to escape. After all, the third piece of God King Duanmu's jade was still in Ando Fu's hands. Once Ando Fu escaped, he would definitely leave the Ando clan. The saint's world was so vast, so looking for him would be almost impossible by then. Mo Ling, I admit defeat in this battle, but just your Mo clan doesn't have the ability to make me stay. Although I'm only an early god, even late gods may not necessarily catch up to me, Ando Fu shot off instantly. Just as he was about to disappear into the horizon, his voice rang out loudly, booming through the Mo clan thunderously. Jian Chen's face became rather strange when he heard that. He sneered and called out, "Linear lightning release." Chapter 1717, Reaching an agreement. Jian Chen became a streak of light after he spoke, catching up to Ando Fu who had already vanished with unbelievable speed. At that moment, Jian Chen had pushed his speed to the limit. Not only had he exceeded the point where he was no longer visible to the naked eye, but even the souls of early gods would only be able to capture a blur. Even with Mo Ling's strength, all he managed to sense with his soul was a blurry streak of white light with how fast Jian Chen was moving right now. Heavens, what speed! Mo Ling cried out. He was filled with shock from just how fast Jian Chen was moving right now. This speed had really made him seem like a bolt of lightning, or even faster than a bolt of lightning. Even though the laws of wind comprehended by Ando Fu were not necessarily the fastest in the world, they were known to be able to reach extreme speeds. Very few people could catch up to people who used the laws of wind when they fled. However, Ando Fu's laws of wind seemed as slow as a turtle before Jian Chen's linear lightning release. In less than a second, in fact, in just a mere moment, Jian Chen had caught up to Ando Fu. No, this is impossible. How can he be so fast? Ando Fu's face immediately changed when his soul sensed Jian Chen charging up towards him. He was filled with shock. As soon as he thought of how fast he was, Jian Chen caught up in a flash. Ando Fu could even clearly sense the pressing sword intent from behind him. He was fast. So fast that Ando Fu did not even have enough time to consider fleeing. Jian Chen had driven through him the moment a thought appeared in his head. He had passed through Ando Fu with both his sword and body. It was an extremely terrifying sight to behold. Spurt. Ando Fu constantly vomited blood as he became sheet white instantly. He became haggard while a bowl-sized hole had appeared in his chest. His flesh and organs had completely vanished, and strands of sword chi flickered around the wound. Jian Chen had passed through Ando Fu's chest. Logically speaking, it was impossible for Jian Chen to leave behind a bowl-sized hole with his body size, but Jian Chen had simply moved too quickly. He moved so fast that even the space around him had been affected, elongating his body, which was why Ando Fu's wound was only bowl-sized. Ando Fu was extremely shocked. He stared at Jian Chen in fear as he became speechless. Laws of wind condensed around him as he tried to deal with the laws of the sword in his wounds. If the laws of the sword continued to wreak havoc, his condition would rapidly worsen. The lightning vanished in the distance and revealed Jian Chen's figure. His clothes and hair fluttered in the wind while the flying snow sword flew over slowly as well. He stared at Ando Fu coldly and said, "Your laws of wind are fast, but my sword technique is faster. Do you still think you can escape before my sword technique? May I ask what sword technique this is?" Ando Fu asked with a trembling voice. He was in a rather disheveled condition. He had never thought that Jian Chen would be so impressive. Not only did he possess shocking strength where even Lu Tian could not fight back, but he also possessed such speed. Ando Fu could not defeat him or even escape. The linear lightning release, Jian Chen responded emotionlessly. The linear lightning release, the linear lightning release. It really is the speed of lightning, Ando Fu murmured. He was in a horrible condition, making him seem like a beggar. He no longer possessed an immortal's bearing anymore. However, Ando Fu's face changed soon after. He stared at Jian Chen coldly, and his expression flickered as he said, "You can't kill me. If I die, the news of God King Duanmu's jade will immediately be broadcasted. It'll spread across the Dong'an province as soon as possible, and it might even reach the other provincial cities in the divine kingdom of Pingtian. Our Dong'an province doesn't have any overgods, but among the 36 provinces of the divine kingdom of Pingtian, 5 provincial cities do. Aside from them, there are plenty of overgods in the royal city as well. If they receive this news, they'll rush over. If you want to keep God King Duanmu's jade a secret, you cannot kill me." Jian Chen snorted coldly. He directed the flying snow sword to Ando Fu's forehead and said coldly, "Why should I believe you? And even if you've made arrangements, as long as the news of your death doesn't make it out, news of God King Duanmu's jade will never be revealed to the outside world. Once I die, the piece of jade bound to my life will shatter. The person I have prepared will know even if the news does not make it out," said Ando Fu. "Brother Jian Chen, please stay your hand." Mo Ling's voice rang out from afar and he arrived before Jian Chen quickly. He stared at Jian Chen with extremely mixed emotions and said with much politeness, "Brother Jian Chen, you still can't kill Ando Fu. What he said is true. Once he dies, the news of God King Duanmu's jade will immediately be broadcasted. It'll be extremely detrimental to us." Jian Chen frowned. "Lu Tian has already died. Wouldn't the news about God King Duanmu's jade be leaked by the person Lu Tian prepared?" Mo Ling's eyebrows were locked together. He said, "Our Mo clan has been secretly investigating this matter as well in the past few years, but we only found out that the Ando clan had made preparations. It's just like what Ando Fu said. Once he dies, the piece of jade bound to his life will shatter, and the person with the news will spread it quickly. It's just that our Mo clan never found the person who carried the information. As for whether the Lu family has prepared something similar to us, I do not know because we've failed to find anything in all these years of investigating." Jian Chen slowly put down the flying snow sword and said to Ando Fu, "Ando Fu, I won't kill you, so hand over the piece of God King Duanmu's jade your clan possesses, as well as all your clan's wealth." Ando Fu's eyes widened, and he said furiously, "You even want all the wealth of my clan? Aren't you asking for too much? That's what my clan uses just to remain stable. I can give you God King Duanmu's jade, as well as keep it a secret for you, but I can't give you all the wealth of my clan. Which one is more important, your life and everyone in your clan, or your clan's wealth? I think you know which one is more important. If you want your Ando clan to keep existing, hand up all the wealth obediently, or I'll kill you right now. After that, I will go to your clan and obtain everything you own anyway. You've already organized someone to leak information about God King Duanmu's jade once you die, but this might have been leaked by the Lu family already. It's no longer important whether you end up leaking the news or not," Jian Chen said coldly. Ando Fu became uneasy. The light in his eyes flickered with uncertainty for a while before he gritted his teeth and made up his mind, "All right, I can give you all the wealth of my clan, but you have to guarantee that you don't touch my clan." Ando Fu had no other choices either. He could slowly make back the wealth of his clan, but once his clan was gone, he was dead, and he really would lose everything. Even if he still possessed his shocking wealth, he would not have the life to spend it. Jian Chen smiled, "As long as your clan doesn't do anything strange, I obviously won't harm them. However, you'll have to stay with me for now." Booms rang out in the distance. Several 100,000 kilometers away from the Mo clan, poison god Datura attacked a formation furiously. "Goddamn Lu Tian. I should have never agreed to your request. The formation you've cast down has sealed off this entire space. You said you set this down to stop the people of the Mo clan from fleeing, but you've trapped me here as well. I can't get out if I don't get through it. Chapter 17:18, Urgency. Poison. God. Datura swore out loud. Even though she had personally taken Lu Tian's life, her hatred for Lu Tian still lingered in her heart as he had forced her to such a state. At this moment, she no longer held back. She used her full strength, basically barraging the formation that blocked her path wildly. She used various secret techniques and battle skills constantly, causing the surroundings to rumble and the air to be filled with intense poison. Suddenly, her face changed abruptly. She cried out, "Oh no, that person has actually caught up to Ando Fu. What is this terrifying speed? Even my soul can only capture a blur." Datura was extremely shocked. She had kept her soul expanded, so she obviously saw Jian Chen catch up to Ando Fu. No wonder that person called Jian Chen didn't pursue me. I had thought he was going to let me off, but from the looks of the current situation, he was simply not worried at all that I would flee with his terrifying speed. In addition, Lu Tian's formation has sealed up this space, so I can't escape even when I want to, Datura thought quickly. She gritted her teeth and determination flooded her eyes. She threw out her wooden staff painfully and formed a seal with both hands. She called out, "Explode." After she said that, the wooden staff immediately exploded loudly. The formation up ahead immediately cracked and the vicious shockwave of energy struck it. Datura's eyes lit up. Without any hesitation, she used a secret technique and burned her own vital essence to become a blur and flee through the crack. She did not dare to pause for even a single moment afterwards, continuing to flee into the distance as quickly as she had ever moved. The god invited by Lu Tian has actually fled. Ando Fu, does she know about God King Duanmu's jade? Mo Ling asked as he stared in the direction which Datura had fled in. Ando Fu had already surrendered, so he was basically a prisoner now. He replied, "That woman doesn't know about God King Duanmu's jade. In fact, she had some grievances with Lu Tian a few years ago. Lu Tian asked her to come this time because he wanted to use the Mo clan to eliminate her." Jian Chen glanced in the direction which Datura had fled off into and did not mind the matter too much. He said to Mo Ling, "Brother Mo Ling, let's go back. Although we don't know whether Lu Tian has made any arrangements, I do believe that he was prepared to leak the information regarding God King Duanmu's jade." "As you wish," Mo Ling clasped his fist towards Jian Chen. After he witnessed Jian Chen's terrifying strength, he could not help but treat Jian Chen politely as if he was his master. Jian Chen and Mo Ling immediately left, flying off towards the Mo clan. Ando Fu followed beside the two of them with a haggard face. When Jian Chen and Mo Ling returned to the Mo clan had already calmed down. Although the protective barrier was still activated, the people of the two clans who attacked the Mo clan before had left long ago. Clearly, they had all fled when they saw that their gods were defeated. The patriarch of the Mo clan watched Mo Ling and Jian Chen return. He immediately became extremely ecstatic, immediately flying out of the barrier. "Ancestor, you've finally returned. How's the situation?" He glanced past the disheveled Ando Fu as he spoke. A strange light flashed through his eyes. With his perceptiveness, he could naturally tell many things from Ando Fu's expression, which made him extremely excited. "Xingfeng, send the orders to get everyone in the Mo clan to hunt down the remaining people of the Lu family. Lu Tian has sealed up a region of 1,000,000 kilometers, so the people of the Lu family can't escape," Mo Ling said coldly. "Yes, ancestor." The patriarch was overjoyed. He immediately went off to organize the hunt. Afterwards, Mo Ling said to Ando Fu, "Leave the people of your Ando clan to me. There's no need for you to pass on any commands you need to pass." Mo Ling naturally handled the cleanup after the battle. Jian Chen directly made his way before the bloodied Shenzhen. After checking his wounds, he immediately carried Shen Jian to the 7th hall. Along the way, everyone in the Mo clan, whether it was the elders, the members of the upper echelon, or the guards, bowed towards Jian Chen and Shen Jian politely. In particular, the elders gazed at Jian Chen with many mixed emotions. The absolute strength that Jian Chen had displayed today shocked them all. Shi Yu became especially conflicted. She had objected to Mo Yen saving the two of them in the past. After Jian Chen woke up in the Mo clan, she had even asked them to leave personally. If it were not for Mo Yen pleading for them to stay, they probably would have left the Mo clan long ago. Last time, when she broke through to late deity, she had responded to Jian Chen's congratulations without any particular enthusiasm, as she believed that he was an origin realm cultivator. As such, there was obviously no need for her to pay any particular attention to him. However, only now did she discover in shock that Jian Chen was actually so powerful. Lu Tian, someone who was the ancestor of quite a large organization and an early god, could not even fight back against him. Shi Yu was completely taken aback by this. Jian Chen's posture back then, where his white clothes and hair fluttered in the wind while he wielded the flying snow sword, had become permanently embedded in her mind. Since you're so powerful, why do you act like no one special? You don't possess the bearing or dignity of an expert at all. Even when the Origin Realm guards looked down on you, you did not become angered at all. Did you really not mind it? Shi Yu gazed at the 7th hall as her feelings became extremely mixed. Even when early gods stand before you, they can only die when you want them to, and it doesn't take any effort at all. With your strength, even wiping out the Mo clan would be a piece of cake. It's impossible for the ancestor to be your opponent. You are so great, so is there any reason for you to share similar thoughts as the ant-like people in the clan? You don't care at all. Shen Jian consumed the medicine that Mo Ling had delivered as he sat on his jade bed to heal in the 7th hall. After learning the situation in detail, Shen Jian also became grim. He said, Lu Tian's an old fox. He's sly and cunning. He actually invited a god to block your profound sword qi. How is it possible for someone like him to not be prepared? He must have made the same preparations as the Mo clan and the Ando clan. People of the Lu family have probably already leaked the news about God King Duanmu's jade with his death. That's what I was thinking as well. I'll immediately visit the Lu family while we still have the time and take all their wealth. Once I get all the wealth of the Lu family and the Ando clan, we'll use the 3 pieces of jade to open God King Duanmu's dwelling, said Jian Chen. You're tuning in to the Xiaofan's Wuxia Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.